Stocks back to the upside currently here. We're trying to get back to break even. Give it a minute. We might even go green on the morning after an early flush down to those aftermarket lows here in the pre-market. Been nothing but upside, helped by ADP employment change data out at 8:15, higher than expected, 42,000 versus a 30,000 print expected, much higher than the negative number we got last month. Right now, the only reading on employment that we're currently getting with this government shutdown, officially the longest now in history, and continuing into what should be an interesting day on the back of AMD earnings. Whole bunch of reports out this morning. I was looking at Rivian before I walked over here this morning, looking pretty good, better than expected from Rivian. They also announced this autonomous day coming up in December. We'll talk about their attempt at getting into this space, maybe trying to rival Tesla in that space altogether. But yeah, nice move after the close yesterday on better than expected numbers here for Rivian. We're higher this morning, 1325, 1330 coming into play right now as the market here. All is well, apparently, after the sell-off yesterday. Hope you bought the dip.
I thought we were going back to 25,000, but I know it looked good on the chart.
Never say never, I guess, but
I know,
we'll
right?
see what happens.
Yeah, nice little healthy correction. There's a lot to talk about today, guys. So as Brendo mentioned, AMD and Focus SMCI as well reporting earnings. They're down 7.5%. Things are not really going well over there. Rivian up nicely, 6.25. Nvidia also should be in focus today as the Chinese government basically all but banning government entities from buying Nvidia's chips, so we'll have to talk about that. Microsoft as well. Google, Tesla's pay package is coming up 1.25 here. NVO though, Brendo, slowing down with GLP sales. We've seen this with other industries as well. Pins and Upstart down markedly here to start as well.
Yeah, it was notable on that. Pfizer with an uptick on that NVO note this morning. It's worth noting as well, yields to the upside. It's been a full, this is a daily chart, it's been a full basis point reversal candle so far here today for, that's the 10-year right now, but the 2-year, the 10-year, the 30, all looking about the same, back in positive territory, which is a little bit strange given the action we're seeing as far as the overall market is concerned here, back higher so far as well, guys. Good morning. Should be an interesting one.
Yeah, good morning. It really should be. And the crazy thing is, remember that poll we had about AMD? Well, it is down, so anyone that voted for red is correct, but the poll was for at the open, and it is bouncing. I don't know if it gets all the way to positive. I would bet no. I mean, I'd guess that's not going to happen here. But AMD after beat, top, bottom. Heck, the guide was in line as well on margins. Ended up down pretty significantly. It started to claw back, as you guys mentioned. The market clawing back pretty well. I mean, Bitcoin managed to hold on to 100,000 after breaking it a couple times. And it's back at like 102, so you are getting a muted bounce. I don't know that it changes my mind on a few names that, to me, have clearly broken their upward trend, and I would probably want to stay looking at those shorts, and we'll talk about it. But there is a lot moving because there's a few names out there that are breaking out that you might not normally hear us mention. Unity up 17%. Lemonade, that cool, refreshing drink, up 15% today. Unfortunately, Upstart to the downside, but some of these like squeeze names are making some powerful moves after earnings. So it does look like there's going to be a lot to look at, even if the market right now is flat. And I'm not convinced this AI bounce this thing is for real until you give me some more, you see a little more strength off the open than just a bit of a relief rally pre-market.
Why is my stock? Why do I have ACVA on?
What is that?
I don't know. I'm wondering if I was trying to look up Kava.
I was going to say it has to be Kava.
I was wondering if I was trying to do that. I was like, what stock am I going to start with here? And then it was like, okay, yeah, Kava down 5%. Anyways, yeah, looking to see what's up, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. Looking to see if Palantir winds up holding somewhere around here, 185, 186 or so. That's going to be an interesting level for me here today as well on a day 2 earnings play. Advanced Micro Devices. Yeah, as Neil mentioned, that one got rocked yesterday in the after hours. Obviously not a great report. The report's fine. I mean, I shouldn't say that. The report is fine. We've seen companies get hit, and we're going to talk about their earnings and what to expect moving forward. I just asked in the chat, I was like, what are we going to trade? And then we have JC here, says Oklo. Dane Jenner says Tesla is always pretty interesting. So I think there's going to be some different names of trading. As Neil mentioned, there's a lot of runners here today. PayPal, I was going to have a look at that to see because we did have Upstart, and I know that that's not a big thing, but the fintech space right there trying to hold that 66, that could be very, very interesting as well. We had on Brian Shannon there, thinks Robinhood maybe a little bit lower to go here for Robinhood. He was on last night, so we can have a look at that as well. SoFi is a big name that we always continue to look at. And as yesterday, wasn't that bad in many spaces, right? I mean, it was just basically a tech flush that happened yesterday. So, SoFi was fine. I mean, look at the SoFi rally, touched 31 again yesterday, pulling back. I really, really, really like this name. This is the one that I'm trying to buy more of as we go. And then more earnings coming, today, tomorrow.
You're not going to believe who's reporting tomorrow.
Tomorrow night or?
Tomorrow, I don't know.
Did McDonald's report earlier?
No, that red, you can't make this crap up because you legitimately wanted to talk about Kava, right?
Yeah, but I thought, didn't it already report?
No, but that random stock that you had up, ACVA,
yeah,
they literally report tomorrow.
Right.
I don't even know that, we don't
ACVA.
even know the company. So apparently...
Were people talking about it in the chat, or?
Well, first of all, I was like, I was just curious because you happen to have it up, and I didn't know what it was.
That's so weird. Like, it was just up.
And then I pulled it up just to see what the company was, and I found out they're reporting tomorrow. So maybe it's secretly in your brain you want to buy this.
I do.
Stock. Oh, this must
I'm
be
loading up on it.
Recent IPO or something.
See?
In March.
Do your due diligence. Catch that knife.
That's a bit
there. They're going to report huge earnings. Man.
Breakout through 10, maybe. Whatever. The stock has one print in the pre-market. There's this single print on the stock pre-market.
It's ACV auctions.
For 380 shares right
I'm
now.
really into the auction thing,
Is that what they
watching
do?
Storage Wars and all this kind of stuff. Oh, man.
Whatever. There's plenty of real stock. Well, I shouldn't call it not a real stock.
Is Wednesdays the days we have Raheem, but it wasn't Raheem in last week?
We had him last week.
We had him last week, okay.
No Raheem?
All right, no Raheem today. But many different things happening, man. MP, like some of the metal names, USAR, those are moving around as well. Yesterday we had a huge move. I mean, yesterday a lot of these names that were so fluff got rocked, right? SMR down to 35 again. And some of these names are going to be back up today. That's the whole point. So huge rocking yesterday as the market was in tipsy-turvy mode again. And we already had this play on SMR, and I just didn't make it again, where we fell back into the low 30s, and now today you're getting that bump back up again. So we've already fallen back into here a couple times and made that move, and now you're falling right back into that lap one more time again. And, silly us not buying or pulling the trigger. And then we had the talk there on Oklo as well. In the chat. So, yeah, this is another mover, up 4%. We'll see if some of these names can hold. And then the one that yesterday we talked about, GEV, that's going to be back up too. So a lot of these names that got hit yesterday are, I will, others think. I'm going to buy ACVA, man. The auction game is strong these days, GE Vernova not really getting the bounce back up. But anyways, another good name that we're waiting to get some shares in if it does continue to go a little lower. Yeah, man, Bitcoin 1025. I mean, that's great.
Nvidia's already
getting rocked.
Nvidia's already green.
Yeah. Well, the market just turned. Well, it's closed. Now the market's green now, the Nasdaq. Oh, it just went to 0.01.
It just went to 0.01.
There's been 1.01, depending on where we tick up. But anyways, yeah, great recovery here for NAS. Great recovery for the ES today. We're saying great. There it is. Now we're positive. We're saying great recovery, but it's flat. So it's not really recovering at all. If anything, it is just taking a little bit of a breather. But stay with us. We'll work around these markets, and we'll get some trades for you here very, very soon. Yeah, big mayoral races, attorney generals, and all that last night. I was watching CNN, and they were just covering it all. And on CNBC was just kept on giving me the updates. Zohan
Mamdani.
Yeah, so I think that was the big one that most people were looking at for New York there. So, yeah, we'll see if that has any effect on any names. Oh, first Virginian women's governor, says Russell, as well. So
I predict the shutdown will end soon after.
Yeah, Neil was saying that maybe the shutdown now coming to an end, and we have.
Well, I think here's
the call sheet.
The whole theory on
43.
That is you tick one day past a record shutdown,
right?
And then the Democrats get a couple of wins last night. I suspect a deal will be incoming in the next week. That's just a guess. If everything is political theater, then to me, when you hit a few wins, when you have one of these battles going on, one side hits a few wins, and then all of a sudden, there's a more willingness to get something done. So I would suspect it could end sooner. But I don't think what we've had happen recently, like the pullback probably had more to do with Palantir dropping, and then this whole like Michael Burry getting everyone talking.
We don't even hear the government
stuff.
shutdown anymore, really.
I don't think the shutdown
we have
had
the
much to do
food
with
stamps with some issues, but here it is, call sheet radio, 43 days. So that that's as of October 1st. So you're getting pretty close at this point. And maybe one more week of government shutdown is what the market is predicting there. So that's good. I think most people would take that, right? Another week. I don't know. We've never had that experience here in this country, so I don't. At least in my lifetime, anyways. I don't know if that's ever happened.
Well, we just had our budget out.
Oh, we had the budget. Yeah, the budget. Yeah, $78 billion deficit. So that's a great.
Have a look at the Canadian dollar.
I'm going to show that budget to my wife for our
see how things went for our budget last.
Our household budget. Yeah, that'd be hilarious. All right, 103. Bitcoin's still going higher, so that's nice. All right, let's go back over the desk and see what these guys are up to.
All right, we were just talking about the budget that we got on this side of the border yesterday on Canadian politics. Anyways, Rivian back to the upside, day highs right now, trying to take a 13.25. A couple people were talking about this early on. If you missed it, again, earnings after the close yesterday. If you want to just go through a couple of details maybe for Rivian right now, we can just glance at it quickly. We'll get into it in the rundown, of course.
This was a good report, Brendo. This was not a bad report at all. Obviously, they're still not profitable company, but let's talk about how they did. 65 pennies per share. They missed on that adjusted loss, or they did, excuse me, a little bit better. So they only lost 65 pennies per share. The street was looking for 75 on revenue of 1.56 billion, beating the 1.5 and increasing 78% year over year on that top line number. Automotive operations where, obviously selling cars, but the software service performance where they're basically licensing this to Volkswagen. Automotive operations still losing $130 million, but profitability was offset by $154 million gains. Yes, exactly, through that VW partnership, Brendo. They maintained their guidance, the same guidance outlook that they had before. And RJ Scarage, very pumped about that R2 timeline. I know you're going to be pumped about that as well. He's saying second half of 2026, and the rare earths and the tariffs not going to affect any of that timeline. So hopefully we'll see it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and then it's December, I was just checking again, December 11th is this autonomous day that they're going to have where they talk a little bit about, I mean, he's been hinting at this, I want to say, going back to the summer. Yeah, that they've been working on this technology, but we've yet to hear or see anything about it.
They don't even have an autopilot equivalent, Brendo. Like, not even FSD. Just give me an autopilot equivalent, a lane holding and a speed holding option. They don't have that.
So December 11th, mark that one down. Could be an important day as far as Rivian goes. But yeah, no, to your point, I think the smaller models, the quote-unquote more affordable models will be the next key for Rivian
sure. That's what's going to move the needle.
Yeah. Randy, I heard this morning, was still long. No plans to sell Rivian.
It's coming down. Oh, it's me. Hey, guys. What's going on? Yeah, Rivian, I mean, up 6.5%. It's, that 47% year over year growth there in revenue is huge, right? And I mean, I think that that's sort of justifying the space for them. There's enough people out here buying their vehicles that you get this little bit of a bump up. But unfortunately, it's not over $14 yet. Until we get over that, then I think there's a problem here with Rivian. So I would just I mean, the report is great, but I don't really want to go long until we can trigger something above $14. So, on earnings days when there's a gap like this, and again, it's not even outperforming what the expected range was for yesterday for Rivian. So I would say, like, when you're, let me, just because it's 6% is what I was thinking was the usual range. I put out the ranges for these. Oh yeah, by the way, someone asked me yesterday, I was out at the high school night there, and I said, that's not right? It's supposed to be W-E-N, but I said, when moon? That was a very gorgeous moon last night with some fall trees there. But I just like how the clouds,
I think it is W-N. That is a great,
I like how the clouds were like that. Rivian, expected move, yeah, there it was, 9.5%, right? So it's not moving where we thought it would, and we've seen names like that, like a Palantir. They finally hit their 10% yesterday and then bounced off of that once it hit that level. So if Rivian gets going and gets anywhere near like 9-10%, I think I would fade that back in. But that would be a $14 fade. And then, when there's a gap, we play it back to VWAP. But again, the gap is not significant enough to play. So I would probably look for the 200 period moving average, right? like yesterday's kind of high that we couldn't break. And then it's not like people thought yesterday that Rivian was going to be a good number. I mean, it faded right into the close, and then pop goes the weasel. So yeah, I mean, I like the space, and then I like it for Rivian. For Tesla, we don't really need to talk too much about the car model as we look for more things from Tesla. I think this is going to be a great trade today on TSLA. I mean, the fact that it's up 1.5% right here, we did have obviously a big move down and then a big move up, and then the market crashed into the close, and now we're trying to get going again. So let's see if we can hold this 450 area for Tesla. But yeah, a couple names there that we have, that we have available for us to trade today. Both Rivian and Tesla, I think, are tradable names.
Yeah, I mean, Rivian's kind of diddling in the middle, but it's on the daily, it looks better. Like on the daily, it just looks like it's a nice consolidation at 13 bucks. For a bit of a ramp job. But like Sean said, if it doesn't break 14, that's kind of the next step that you need. And don't forget, we get Lucid today. I believe so. Yeah, and since they're split, this stock actually went up on its split, believe it or not. These things can happen. But since then, it's come all the way back to that split bottom. So it's at a bounce zone where it bounced yesterday at about $16. This could be one for a reversion after their report. Doubt I trade that one today. Just keeping it real. There, Tesla, I marked off this 442, which is kind of like a loose area. I mean, 440 has been support on Tesla. I marked off this 442, and the chances of us getting down there for support, I mean, it looked like a good level at the end of the day yesterday to maybe look for a bounce play on Tesla, and it didn't make my note because we're now $10 higher than it. So it's possible, like you've already bounced from here, it's possible we retest and get some kind of a 40 to 42 bounce off the support, or I guess you could also break down that as well. But if we don't trade down there, don't really have any great thoughts on Tesla outside of, I know if it were to get to 65, I still think that area is going to be a bit of a fade. So it can always happen. I mean, look at the open, even just yesterday, like that wick is $7 or $8 to the downside. We've certainly seen Tesla and other stocks do that, but it's seeming less likely, so I didn't bother putting it on the note because it would have to drop 10 bucks to get to support that I like.
We were just talking about Nvidia a little bit. Back to session highs here. We've retraced better part of 50% of this overall move from yesterday, including after the close where we continue to nosedive down to 195. Hasn't been there for a while, but about to regain this 200 mark. Some China-related news to be aware of today, friend.
Yeah, this is an interesting development. Nothing new, like we haven't already heard, but it's getting worse. So China's issued a new government guidance, guys, requiring all state-funded data centers, and there's plenty of them, to use only domestic AI-made chips. The projects that are less than 30% complete, they got to remove all foreign chips or cancel orders immediately. Those that are beyond the 30% stage will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. Just to give you an idea of how much this has hurt Nvidia out in China, Nvidia's AI chip market share was about 95% back in 2022. That's near zero now. So there's really no new orders coming in, and the directive here from the Chinese government applies to all, China-specific chips. We're talking about the H20, but the previous China-specific chips, which have now been banned for export by the United States, the B200 and the H200, also banned, Brendo, in case they circumvent and get it through Singapore or something like that. They don't want to find it on the Chinese mainland.
Yeah, quick reversal, meanwhile, as far as the price action goes here, guys, pre-market for not only Nvidia, AMD looking pretty similar coming off earnings as well.
Yeah, AMD, well, I mean, AMD.
Like,
okay, well,
is Andre going to do you dirty or what?
I'll cop to this. Like the breakfast came a little bit later, so Sean went to grab, and it's like
there's only a few that have bacon in it.
It's like a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich.
As soon as I said that, Joe and Neil ran to go get the bacon ASAP.
Well, there's 3 full trays,
Sharif, you can see
and only
us.
one of them has bacon in it. Like, come on, what's up with that?
Like, man, watch out walking through the picture again, man. Actually, we got to get those.
That bacon sandwich.
We got to get the screen going too. It's like now it's like all I
don't like it all black.
Mystery back there again.
It should almost.
There goes Sharif to go get his eggs and bacon.
That's the way I see it.
Joey Bacon, yeah, that's a good name now. All right, Joey Bacon.
But it is tasty.
Yeah, I love this group. Yeah, it's all right. I guess Sharif's going to throw out the carbs,
Good.
Any thoughts on it?
Well, I mean, I don't know. We'll talk about AMD obviously specifically in the rundown with when we go over the watch list and the earnings. But for Nvidia, I'm kind of feeling more inclined to trade AMD today because it had a pretty clean reversion yesterday. The levels have been good. The movement's been good. It's post earnings. But for Nvidia, 200's a round number, but I think the key price is going to be up here at 202. Like it held support a couple of days. If you look at the actual open yesterday, like it was holding at least a little bit above that level before eventually, when it failed that breakout, it's kind of the 202 level where it really turned down. So I think that's the key price, but I'll be more of an AMD and Intel trade. Sandwich? For sure, because like there's just clear structure on AMD, and the same thing with Intel. And I still like them for fades. Yeah, whatever. We'll get to AMD. I would have actually liked AMD for a bounce play had it not already gone like Tesla, like $10 higher. So it looks like I'm looking for a fade first. I believe we have some options and some upgrades and downgrades to talk about.
Oh, for real?
Options, yeah.
It's funny because one of my cousin's friends' names was Johnny Bacon. That was his actual name. Yeah, I swear to God, I swear to God. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of these names. Upgrades and downgrades at the top of the list. Yes, we have AMD getting that price target raised to $290 by TD Cowen, slightly red on the session. 3 1/5 roughly there. Now, Cloudflare by DZ Bank, price target raised to $237. Now, Wingstop as well, too, guys, by North Coast, price target $300. And Yum Brands, Epicor ISI, price target to $180, up 1.17% on the session. Now, as for the downgrades, Pinterest by Rosenblatt getting that price target lowered to $30, down substantially on the session, 18.8%. And Astera Labs as well, too, guys, TD Cowen lowering that price target to $170, slightly green on the session. Now, Spotify by Pivotal Research it's going from 900 to 875, guys. So a little bit of a lower on the price target there. And then Super Microcomputer SMCI by Mizuho getting that price target lower to $45, down 7.5% roughly on the session. Now, as for some of the options activity, guys, the puts were actually outweighing the calls on yesterday's session on a couple of names, and that's going to be Tesla, IBIT, and Palantir. We'll go through each individual one, with the volume on Tesla at that 450 strike price sitting around 60,900, and then the open interest still relatively light, so a lot of those contracts being closed 9,600 at that level. That's going to be expiring this week. Now, as for Bitcoin, guys, there's substantial open interest at some key levels. We've seen it on the call side on the 21st of November. You're going to see over 118,000. That might be growing. But as for the puts, there's still some substantial options activity there, guys. A lot of contracts still open with 71,100 there. So yeah, there's a lot, 3,650 contracts closed. So what I'm thinking is a lot of writing going on with those specific puts, guys. Strike price is going to be $60. And as for Palantir, volume 64,300 at that 180 strike with 23,700 still open, guys.
Yeah, looking at IBIT today, actually. So that 60, I don't know if we get to 60. Because I'm kind of thinking like that almost the high yesterday, but at least you could even fill in that gap. But I looked for a second shot at that short. We had that one at the open, and that was like the one. It's always the irony. Like that was the one. That was the thing that didn't work for me. Off the open was kind of getting stopped out around that area on IBIT. But you can't. Like I know I'm showing you what we were likely to trade, but you got to keep the bigger picture in mind here, right? Like this, the last time this kind of pulled back a couple of levels on Bitcoin, there was a retest. So it bounced, there was a retest of these 90s, and then you made the low. So that would not surprise me. Like I'm not married to the notion we pull back into prior support and you just fade it. Well, if it breaks out, you're almost waiting for a retest of like that 108 area on Bitcoin. But at least for now, I'm looking to short back into that prior low for this morning here on IBIT.
You know an interesting fact here about Apple? So Apple, their one segment, probably their worst one, iPads, did more revenue than all of AMD. All right, like let's just figure out how strong exactly That's iPads. The AMD, okay? Like, the way this company is working, it's incredible. And I am a huge supporter of these longs if they can ever come in again. And yesterday, we ripped, you know, again, yesterday off the morning, Apple was positive yesterday, by the way, in the Nasdaq down 2%. But just right off the open, everything was tanking and Apple was ripping, and then it finally came back to life a little bit, and then people were like, huh? And then it just ripped back up, and then it hit VWAP again, and they were like, huh? And then it ripped back up again, and they made a top, and they went to VWAP, and then people were like, got it? And then now today, we're kind of doing the same thing again. We're just hanging out right here. So if you want to try to buy quality companies and names that continue to work, oh yeah, by the way, they also have a $100 billion share buyback annually. This move down here, million. This move down here, billion. Sorry, not 100 million, billion, which I said first. This move back into VWAP, I think, should be bought as well. So if we get Apple near 270, which it's at right now, this is going to be a name to watch out for. You know, off the open, they never can predict what's going to happen. Yesterday, we got rinsed on AMD trying to go short, remember? And then it just tanked throughout the rest of the day. This one did oppo. This one sort of ripped, then had that move, then ripped again. So if I'm going to be thinking long, which I've littered the sticky note with longs today, I think Apple has to be part of those plays. So yesterday, these little dip buy opportunities between 269 and 269.50. If we do get a dip down for Apple, I'm a buyer there. So get out your Granny Smiths and whatnot, because we're going to be trading some Apple today. So 269 to 269.50 there for Apple, but that's a look. And then yeah, I have the same sort of thoughts for dip buying on IBIT and things like that. So yeah, we've got a bunch of good levels, I think, on here. I'm going to post it very, very soon. But I really like Apple, man. Play the strength and play the stocks, you know, that are at and still close to their all-time highs, and that would count as Apple. So I'm here for this name today. So that just means it's going to be down 3%. Let's go back over to the desk.
A few headlines coming out on the overall market here. It's not really affecting the market at all. I was just counting up some of the analyst moves here on AMD this morning. We'll get into that a little bit deeper coming up here. But as far as, like, we're in a very, very interesting place here as far as the overall market is concerned. I mean, you were just looking at the higher time frame there for the S&P more than the Nasdaq, but some, you know, key technical levels to deal with. If you missed the last pullback, Sharif and I were just discussing the simple fact that it was less than a day, I think, and it was just straight back to the upside.
It was.
Things happen quickly now in
Absolutely.
markets.
I mean, we didn't really get much of a chance. When you're in a secular bull market, Brendo, there's going to be that aggressive buy-up as people perceive things on sale. This is what Brendo's talking about right here. This is the ES December contract. This is back on October 10th, of course, when we got that text message from President Trump regarding the, the changing nature of Chinese trade. And the market dropped aggressively. We were trading around 6,800 at the time. When all was said and done, we were down to 6,550, but the speed with which we got bought up, Brendo, yeah, it didn't really give you much of an opportunity. Made all-time highs, pardon me, right after that.
Yeah, I mean, we're not saying obviously this is going to be exactly the same, but just be aware. Google, one of the reasons we're continuing back to the upside, that's what Google looks like right now. This is a 15-minute chart, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 candles in a row, straight back to 280 here, coming back into near the highs at least for Google at this point. There's this deal with Wiz, if you remember, going back to the beginning of the year. That finally got DOJ clearance, so a bit of a hurdle cleared for them to close this acquisition on the cybersecurity front.
It's a great look, too, because typically, Brendo, the FTC doesn't work during a government shutdown, but they open specially just to get this deal done with Google. So, no, seriously, though, so it's a cybersecurity firm called Wiz. They've received early termination. Google, that is, has received early termination from the U.S. Department of Justice, which allows them to clear that regulatory step for the $32 billion acquisition of Wiz. I'll just tell you, basically, other global regulators are still reviewing it as well, so they've got to give it the nod. It's not just the United States, obviously, as Google's a multi-jurisdiction company. But here's the information about Wiz. Fast-growing cybersecurity startup valued at over $10 billion. It specializes in cloud security, software used by major companies, and integration, Brendo, of this cybersecurity company with Google Cloud could give them even more of a moat to compete with Azure and AWS.
Not a major headline, but very strong right now, guys. We're going to get a nice rally back and bounce today. some of these types of names are going to have to participate.
Whiz from 10 to now 32 that Alphabet's going to pay for it. If you can start, if you start your own company there and grow it and have some of the mag want, then you can be a winner too. Alphabet, you know what? Alphabet has held up pretty well since that blowout earning. And this is the pattern of, buy where it rips, and then you come in the next day and you're gapped up and all it does is sell at the open. We saw this with, Alphabet. We've seen this about, I don't know, but it seems like a bajillion times in this earnings season. But the lows have held, at least for now. And sometimes we talk about this. The lows, you have to let a stock settle down after earnings. And it's now made a pretty decent bottom here at about 276. So where it broke away from for the report or on the day of the report has now turned into support level. It has yet to do the thing that I like a little bit better, which is hold a low and then break out some resistance, because it held a low and then failed to break out resistance 2 days ago. It's now held a low again. Can it break out the prior day resistance? So it's like 281.5. That'll convince me a little bit more. That's the setup I look for after earnings. Is hold the low, break the resistance, and then go for a bit of the gap fill. So Google has a chance to do what it didn't do, what it couldn't do, I should say, on Monday. And it needs to get through 281.5. I'm not trading this unless it's off the support level or breaking away from 281. But love Alphabet. I mean, what else is there to say? I feel as if even if it were to lose the bid, you could drop $20 from here on Alphabet, and you would only be pulling back into the prior high, and you wouldn't even be at the 50-period moving average. And then on top of that, you also have a pretty reasonable valuation relative to the other Mag 7 names. So I know it's really high up, but this one, super strong, and I think it definitely deserves to be where it is. Would I buy the dip if it got to that prior high? Answer would be yes, but I think today I'm more concerned about that 281.
All right, let's go back over to the desk and get going on today's watch list.
The valid point that we're not even 2% off the highs.
We're not, Brendo. We closed out at 6,800. All-time highs on the ES is 6,950. We're about 1.8% off all-time highs. All right, guys, we closed out yesterday 6,800 on the dot on the ES December contract. We're marginally above it. You can see we're at 6,803 with the overnight high, 6,807. So we haven't cleared it nor given it up. We're in an undecided state right now. So we're going to use that 67.75 level as our support area, just like we did yesterday. We generally defended. Of course, we wicked below it, but didn't close below it. To the high side, if we really get going for whatever reason, look at that 6850 consolidation area support. We're using that as resistance.
As always, if you haven't done so yet, make sure you grab the absolutely free watch list. Link is below in the description. Top link will get you to the sign up page, and then all you need is your email address. You can also subscribe for the YouTube membership and get Sharif's note. More detail, lots of names, more detail involved in Sharif's note every single morning. That is on the posts page. So if you go to our home YouTube page, click on posts, you'll see it there for members only. Let's talk about AMD earnings. Back to the upside this morning, but it was pretty ugly after the close yesterday. Even this morning, we had a fresh low put in there down through 236, even touched 235.45, it looks like, at the low there. This is one of many headlines to be aware of this morning on the China side of things for AMD, but let's talk earnings.
Yeah, so that Nvidia story we were talking about earlier, specifically for Nvidia, but it could apply to Intel and AMD, Brendo. So thanks for mentioning that. So let's talk about their earnings report. Earnings, $1.20 per share, beating the $1.16 expected by analysts on revenue. As Sean mentioned, $9.25 billion. Not quite iPad revenue, but getting up there. That beats, though, the $8.75 expected, and it also grows at a healthy 36% year over year. A net income, their take-home money, a little bit shy of $1.25 billion, and that's up from 771 last year. Nice, healthy growth wherever you're looking there and whatever data point. Data center segment, which is a euphemism, of course, for their AI segment, $4.75 billion in revenue and a 22% bump year over year on that. But that's not the only thing they sell. They have client revenue as well, $2.75 billion, beating estimates of 2.61 and a 46% year over year in that segment. Gaming revenue, $1.3 billion, 181% year over year, well above the consensus estimate of 1.05. So gaming continues to recover after a little bit of a hiatus there from COVID. Now, Q4 revenue forecast. Brendo, what are we talking about here? We're talking about $9.6 billion in revenue at 25% year over year bump and above the 9.15 expected by analysts. And also, I want to mention one thing here, not entirely relevant to their earnings report, but Amazon had built a position in AMD to the tune of about 822,000 shares. They sold all of that, Brendo, as of September 30th.
Regardless, overall, the market's kind of shrugging this off, guys. Most of analysts kind of ho-hum about this earnings report. For the most part, it's one of those where they're maintaining their buy or hold or positive stance in either slight decline in price targets or maintaining those as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, when a thing to keep in mind with regards to just because the comparison got made to Apple, you would think that with 53% margins, it's like, oh, you are comparing apples to oranges, but overall gross margins at Apple approach 40%, which is pretty spectacular for, I mean, the services is huge for them as well. They don't break them down sector by sector, so I couldn't tell you what it is for iPad specifically. That being said, there's a reason why Apple's like 9 times the size of the company of AMD. And AMD, this is one of those stocks where I'm just gonna try to ignore the report. It was all good and all that stuff. And if it confirms this trend break today, then I think it's in a pullback, right? So since the bounce, the ridiculous, much bigger than any earnings move, you've had higher lows put in. It needs to hold above about 247. Like if it closes above 247, somewhere back in this gap, then it's broken the trend. So until it proves that to me, then on structure, it's ended up a short. I feel like this name, when you sit down to think about what you're looking for, it's kind of like Tesla. Like you've already run $10 in the pre-market here. So for myself, like any notion of a bounce long, kind of off of these levels down here where there was, I think, significant price action at 36, that's gone now. You're much closer to that 47 in the prior and the prior support turning into potential resistance. So like yesterday, because it's screaming higher and the market's recovering, it's going to require some patience. It ended up being a trend break that didn't set up until almost the end of the morning show. It was at about 10:50 when this had made a distinct upward trend and broken it. This move is starting much earlier in the pre-market, so there's always a chance for a couple of trend breaks. I'd hope so before it gets to 11, but that's my look on AMD, and I'll just quickly throw Intel in here as well, because that already did a trend break, so if it powers back into prior resistance, that's about into here, 38, 37.5 to 38. I'm looking for a reversion. It's another stock that already bounced off support. There's your 36, like boom, boom. 3 times it bounced off 36. But now all of a sudden you're $1.25 higher. I'm not thinking longs way up here. I wanted, on most of these stocks, it's like, yeah, I wanted to long off the actual support level. So I'll be waiting for some reversions apparently.
Yeah, we hit some good longs off some of those levels yesterday, but AMD is still down 8 to 9% over the last 2 days. So don't get it twisted that like it's only down 2% right here. It was at $263 2 days ago, and now it's at $245. So this name is already down $18 from 2 days, just from 2 days ago, and just from like yesterday where we shorted it, man, up here at $258. You're down $15 from yesterday's high. I know it's a nice battle back, but yeah, I don't think we're out of the water yet. I mean, yesterday's move was nothing, as Sharif had mentioned there. We're still at all-time highs in the market. So if you're actually going to get flush, you're going to get flush at AMD, I think. And I just don't know if it's today. I don't like to trade stocks off earnings, to be honest with you. So I'm going to hold off on any kind of AMD talk because Palantir's not on the board, which probably should be. I'm going to play day 2, Palantir 185. So yesterday we dipped into 185 right into there. We didn't really want to take it for Palantir because, again, yesterday was yesterday and it was their earnings call and earnings report yesterday morning. So we're going to wait to see if Palantir, which is virtually down nothing either. This before earnings report was 206. So now you're at 188. So yeah, you're down again like that 8, 9, 10% on Palantir. Just wonder if it's time to get up again. So it's the #1 trade idea on my note today is going to go Palantir. If we can dip into anywhere, it doesn't have to be 185, it could be 186, something like that, and develop a level. Even VWAP right there is 187 on Palantir, because I think at the end of the day, or at some point today, anyways, we at least get back to 193, 194. So this is the area where I'm thinking we get back to. It's just a matter of when do we get in, which is why patience is going to be always a virtue that the best traders should have. And that's 189.50. We just dropped down $1.50 right there at 9 o'clock. So we can drop down once the market opens $2 or $3, and that's where we're trying to scoop some PLTR. So yeah, I mean, I really like this name today as a day 2 play. Let's see if it can continue to go. Again, we're going to have to watch the market and be patient with it, but I like Palantir much better than any setup on AMD today.
Let's go on to Rivian. We mentioned it briefly to start the show off a couple of times now, but better than expected reports if you are just joining from EV maker Rivian. We also get this autonomous day announcement coming up in December. We'll learn more about technology that they have been working on the autonomous side of things, but I mean, we got the deliveries, the quarterly deliveries was, I guess, the last benchmark that we had from this company that was also a little better than expected.
Yeah.
There's 2 in a row.
Yeah, Brendo, and they're guiding good deliveries now. Like, I'll just start with that if I could. They're guiding for their 2025, all of 2025, they're guiding about 41,500 to 43,500. That's a marked increase year over year, not a bad look. And their CapEx is going to maintain relatively the same 1.8 to 1.9. And they've confirmed the R2 midsize SUV is slated for first half of 2026 launch at the Illinois plant. You know, as we mentioned, you know, they're still losing money, of course. Most EV companies are 65 penny loss per share, better than the 72 expected. 1.56 billion in revenue, ahead of the 1.5, and a 78% year-over-year increase on that top line number.
Overall, yes, it's positive on the day, guys, but I mean, we're really just getting back into where we were 2 days ago. So this thing did sell off pretty heavily going into the report last night.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, in theory, it's a good thing that you're losing less money, and also saying that you're not going to have as many supply constraints because of critical metals. So like, they're saying all the right things. It's just this one ended up being a bit of a nothing burger in terms of movement. It's still exactly in the same range that it's been in the entirety of, well, pretty much all the last month, not all of October, but it spent a calendar month trading 1280 to like 1370, and there's no breakout on earnings day. So that's incredibly disappointing. I think this is more of a breakaway long through the 50-period moving average than anything else. The other way you could look at this, you go glass half full and say, well, look at 13 hold. Just maybe buy into 13 and play into the top end of the range. Fair enough. Like, that's actually not that bad at all of a concept. Thank you, Randy. Got a banana reload here. We're just talking about Rivian. What are your thoughts on Rivian? Because look, this is a complete nothing burger in terms of movement relative to where it's been. It's spent the entire month in the same price range.
Right. So Sharif and I were talking about this morning. It just got a cycle. It's a little bit of movement up and down. Has been since probably May or June. A couple of news announcements, earning announcements here and there, but it's not much. When Georgia and the R2 and the R3 stuff, then we should see a little more movement. It's about cash flow. Yeah. You know, they have a cash pile they're burning through. It's about RJ getting his expenses and his supply chain under control and all that good stuff. So I expect to see this bounce and then drop, and then bounce by the dips and just watch it for a while. The good news is not coming for probably a few months yet. Okay. Keep your fingers crossed.
It sounds like a hold. I mean, that's kind of...
yeah, it's just... there's some plays here and there, but, I mean, 6% is not bad. Like, you know.
It's not bad. I think it's just a little disappointing if you're looking for a bigger move there.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Randy. There you go. I'm not going to pretend I can do better on the fundamentals of Rivian, and I'll get more excited when it breaks that 14. Ooh, quantum. Yeah, so now we have extras.
I did. I thought you were too busy.
He's very busy.
Yeah, I got my own banana. I thought he was running around here today. Are those the security guys, Randy? Ooh. Get them to fix the Apple Watch. Okay, it's just a simple toggle. All right. I've already talked about Rivian. I mean, I thought that Rivian, again, I don't think it's out of the water. I mean, you need to get above this $14 mark right here on RIV, and if you don't get above that, I don't like the stock at all. Still losing money. You know, I don't think I mean, if anybody has any real money in this, that's good. But I think it's just maybe a shot play, and you just kind of wait around and see if anything develops from this. We've seen GM, we've seen Ford, and I mean, Rivian has been dead money here for, I think, years. If not, you've lost a hell of a lot of money. This stock came out to market at $108. So if you bought the IPO or anything on the way down for Rivian, you can't be happy here today. This is just a play where you're trying to play off of $12.50, $13, right? And hoping that it holds. So let's just see what winds up happening. This is a company that loses money and can't be one that you're completely happy with being stuck in. So I don't, again, underperforming the expectations today. It's nice that it's up, and anybody that owns Rivian shares will like a 5% move, but really, I mean, it's the same levels that I just showed you the chart. It's the same level it's been at. Like when they were losing $57,000, $80,000 a vehicle, it was, you know, this price, and now it's this price again. And they're losing, what, 30 something? So I don't know. I don't love the stock. I'd rather be in so many other names, but hey, Rivian, I'll probably one day own one of those, but for right now, I only own a small piece of the stock.
Quantum, eh?
A few names on the quantum side of things moving around here this morning that we haven't touched on in the past couple of weeks here, it feels like, but headline for QBTS, this entire group, I was just looking at Rigetti here too, this entire group kind of looking like this morning, a couple of days in a row to the downside, pretty steep sell-off going back to the beginning of the week, but also bouncing here this morning.
Yeah, and this little article gives you an idea of how strong quantum can be, Brendo. So something that typically takes about 10 hours can get done in just a few seconds. Let me give you some context. So D-Wave Quantum announced the completion of a joint proof of concept project that used the hybrid quantum application to optimize manufacturing workflows. They did it for a company called BASF. Anybody who is old like me, you remember BASF for making those VHS tapes. So the hybrid quantum technology set a new benchmark for manufacturing efficiency, and it allowed the reduction of production scheduling time from 10 hours to just seconds, Brendo. It's a liquid filling facility process, and it fills and seals a significant number of bottles, basically manufacturing process that they were able to cut the time for.
We'll have a look at some of these quantum names in a second here. Amazon, guys, and NU teaming up. NU will offer new pay on its Brazil site. So Amazon Brazil, giving new bank customers more credit access and shopping capabilities for Amazon Brazil. Neither of them really moved on that, but NU as well.
Made me look. I'd already changed from IonQ to NU when I heard that story, and you're right, it's not moving at all. So look, IonQ reports after the bell. So obviously, you know, stay tuned. Aftermarket, we have other earnings as well. Darren and I will be covering those. Obviously, they're not going to have too much to report, but the stock's probably going to move anyways. And I love where the support is on this, just from a technical standpoint. We get that out of the way. From a technical standpoint, the prior highs are holding very, very nicely. At the 52 level, there's a nice little double bottom. I think you could trade off that today. My interest in this stock more comes to tomorrow, let's be real. I think after earnings is when you get things to settle down and you get a bit of an idea of, you know, what the structure looks like. And on that note, like Palantir here, right? Like it's bounced off 185 or so. That is, you know, that's the prior high. I just talked about an IonQ, former resistance turning into support. This would be the case of the same thing trying to happen here on Palantir. Now, if we do not break out this 194, I'm still thinking the same play, and it's over in Lumen. Like Lumen yesterday was kind of failed breakout, had their own earnings, they were running after that. Palantir dumped, and this one just trended down after failing this 1140 area. So I'm just taking the stairs down here. $11, yesterday's level of 1140 as well. I'm looking for the reversion there. So as long as Palantir's not breaking out, to me, Lumen is a continuation short. If I see Palantir breaking out, I can just step away from the trade. But it was able to work after some patience, and that was the key. Like it was the patient short, not the trying to go all over it in the pre-market, or sorry, in the open. And I'll just stick to that plan of action post earnings. And I think it'll be the same thing for post IonQ earnings. You know, let it dictate, because if it loses that 52, I can't see any way that I'm not shorting it, you know, either tomorrow or on Friday.
Yeah, I actually had IonQ up too because you had mentioned that they were reporting there. I still think that the biggest quantum names, if you want to get involved with a company that's actually making some money, IBM and Google for quantum are the jam. I hate to say it, but like when quantum was up here, we were sort of calling down here. When SMR nuclear was up here, we were calling down here. So I still think down here. 40, you know, and again, it's not, you're going to see what the earnings are, and they're going to be nothing. We already know that. But I don't know if these guys are takeout targets. Like, I don't really know. I mean, we get Jensen talking quantum. I mean, that sparks it. There's lots of things that spark these names. I just don't know if earnings are going to be one of them. So I would just wait, get through earnings a little bit, and see if there's anything moving. The biggest volume name, generally speaking, Rigetti, can put up some numbers. And this one, at least to me, we just saw IonQ, I think, needs about $10 more to go, or whatever that level was we were talking about. But what about just like right here for Rigetti? If you like the space, you're now down 25 or 30%. So the stock is in bear territory now. You're at the 50-period moving average with a little bit of support. And if you just dip underneath down into 27.80, 27.50, these levels right into here is where you could maybe get out of it if there was ever a problem, and you just hope that you don't gap through that. So I would say, like, tomorrow, if there's any sort of weakness in some of these earnings or anything like that, I mean, I don't even know when Rigetti reports, but they're at the level that I like. So that's why let's just do a little bit. 5 days, so November the 10th. They're going to report, right? And so we're going to wait to see what kind of numbers they can put up, because this is their EPS. -13, -8, -8, -8, -7, right? And so what we're expecting now is -4, -4. So it looks like we'll get a look for -16 or so for the year. And we're just going to figure out if they can guide higher than that, or even somehow, I guess, I don't think they're going to turn a profit, but let's see if they can beat like last year's last quarter's -13, and then get that number a little bit better. But the revenues also 7%, -23, -32, -50. Like, these are not great. Like, that was a 200% surprise apparently on the EPS. So I'm just going to hold off on some of these names. I don't. You can see what happens when the market gives up on them, and man, do they ever wax these stocks. So I would wait for at least, this is November 10th we just saw. We did the same thing with BBAI. We're talking about all these sort of sketchy, unprofitable names. You want to let them get through earnings before pouncing. So for me, Rigetti is just one of those stories again. So we'll wait for it, but I do like it if we can get into the 50-period moving average and have a look against 27.28. So for me, that needs to be down at least another 10% here before we start getting involved, and then we'll give it a 10% cushion. But worth it for the long haul. I think quantum's going to be obviously a thing. As we saw already, Ethereum got cracked apparently over the weekend. Once quantum is there, and I know there needs to be a whole bunch of qubits and all that kind of stuff. We're not worried about cracking, crazy 2FAs and all that stuff yet, but eventually quantum's going to be a thing. So get these names at discounts, and right now, Rigetti being down 25% from its highs could possibly be that.
All right, let's go on to SMCI, trying to bounce back here a little bit this morning. We're back to 44.5, I guess, 45 coming in next, maybe that high from after the close yesterday on the bounce. But worse than expected report here from Supermicro, but almost surprising it wasn't a little bit worse of a reaction as well.
Yeah, this was a bad report for the current quarter, but trust them, Brendo, it's going to get better next quarter, or so they say. Let's talk about this. Earnings per share, 35 pennies. Missing the 40, miss on the bottom line. Top line, 5.02 billion, way missing the 6 billion expected, and also down 15% year over year from almost 6 billion last year. Their net income bled as well. They took $424 million in profit last year on the quarter. They only took 168.3 million this time. That's a 60% decline in that profitability number. Preliminary guidance was cut 2 weeks ago, so we kind of had an idea this was coming. Now let's talk about Q2 guide, because they're saying, trust me, bro. They're guiding 10 to 11 billion in revenue. That's well above what the street's looking for. The street's looking for 7.83. The company attributed the current quarter weakness to shipping or shipment timing issues, not demand erosion. In fact, management reaffirmed that AI-related server demand remains robust, Brendo, but there are analysts here saying that Dell is eating into their market share, especially in recent quarters, and the company's, SMCI's massive exposure to Nvidia's GPU ecosystem remains both its strength and its weakness, because if there's any glut or any backlog in inventory from Nvidia, they rely specifically on Nvidia. They're not really diversifying with Broadcom, AMD, or anybody else, Brando.
The stock's sitting at September lows support. Anyways, guys, you got to go all the way back to the beginning of September here to find when this thing was trading down here the last time. So SMCI, long or short?
Well, Sharif just dropped the trust me, bro. And I'm like, how do you trust these guys? Like, they've had all kinds of issues with reporting, and then they missed top and bottom, and then they're like, then the guidance is like way above expectations, and we're supposed to, like, that's something we're gonna trust and believe in. Like, I would normally be saying, look at that 200 period moving average that had already bounced off once. This has to be along from here as a recovery bounce. But I'm not really thinking that not for these guys, not because I saw that guide. I'm like, come on. Like, no, maybe it's true. And anyone that holds a stock, I hope for their sake that that is true. And then it does hold the 200 period moving average, and it is all roses. But at about $45. I'll zoom it back in so you can see. At about $45 is where it leveled off, and then you've got a 47 gap fill. This is a name that, again, like, you'll have to be patient because the market's kind of trending up after a disaster down day, but I don't believe it. And normally I would be trying to go long off the $42 level. Normally I would be thinking about that 200 period moving average with SMCI. But, if I see big guidance from Nvidia, I trust it. Heck, if I saw strong guidance from Intel, I wouldn't have any reason to be skeptical of it. But in this particular case, I think I do, or I think anybody does. So, I don't know enough about them other than their history of having some accounting issues, some alleged accounting issues, and then of course having to push back reports, going through multiple audits. There's just a lot going on here, and I don't think this one's a buy on the dip just yet, at least not for myself.
Why not just buy a company that is, it does kind of go back and forth with SMCI whenever SMCI gets hit, as does Dell, right? And so have a company that doesn't have any of those issues where we have trust issues, or we have accounting, or we have, corporate, continuously raising with corporate offerings and bond offerings and whatnot, share offerings. SMCI is kind of a little bit of a house of cards if this all falls down, but I also think that Dell has really appreciated, and I like this stock as well. I mean, this was a $70 bottom up to $170, so you got more than a double here on Dell, and it's trying to pull back into the 50 period moving average, which also gives you some decent levels for support. These are breakout levels of 145. So, we tried to break out there. We really got hit back in November into February into April, and then we tried to make that move again, did not break, and then when we finally did, we came back and retested and then went. So I think 140-ish or so for Dell is probably a much safer investment than an SMCI. So yeah, sticky note is still out. CompuCare team, you can go find it on X, and I will put it in the chat. All right, pins got crushed, which I guess, my wife used to talk about that site. I haven't heard her mention it in forever. But let's go find out more about Pinterest, and the market has 2 minutes.
Yeah, still potentially anyways getting crushed as well. Pinterest, the guidance, the problem here, missing estimates a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, this is not a good report, Brendo, whether the current quarter or the guide. Q3 EPS, missing estimates. That's a 5% year-over-year drop as well on profitability. Despite the consistent revenue growth and their growing revenue, Brendo, they've failed to beat EPS forecasts in each of the last 4 quarters, really signaling margin pressure. They got to get costs under control there.
Got to zoom way out, guys, for support on this one, potentially getting back down to this 22 area.
Yeah, you really have to zoom pretty far out. Like, everything is bouncing most things are bouncing this morning. Shouldn't say everything, Neil. But not Pinterest. Down 20%. Obviously, that makes it short sell restricted. The uptick rule is in effect in this stock. I always say if it doesn't break the low, there's nowhere it can go. Well, it's already broken the low. So unless it gets to like 25 even, there's not going to be an obvious SSR area, like reversion area outside of every even dollar. But missed the SSR bounce on Palantir yesterday at the open, which was, it just happened faster than expected. I thought there'd be a couple legs down on Palantir before it did a reversion because it was SSR. On pins, I'll have it up to look at the 26. If I see it kind of rinse and immediately hold 26, I might play that in a VWAP. Ideally, it would be 25 though.
All right, yeah, I haven't looked at Pinterest. We only have 30 seconds left. We're seeing that I liked Apple. I did that whole thing about how much I liked it, and it just pretty much tanked right here, Apple. So we'll see. Yeah, I looked at the imbalances. There's not much there. 268, I guess, or so for Apple with that dip by now. I wrote down 269 thinking that we could get into there, but we're already through that. So watch out for 268. Maybe Apple, the one that didn't get hit yesterday, maybe gets hit today. All right, 10 seconds left. Here we go. Should be a good one. What's up, Adara? As we get ready for the bell, and now 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We are now open. Looking to dip by again in Apple. Looking to see if IBIT wants to get going here a little bit. Looking at some Palantir here off the open as well. That looks like it's, I don't know, we'll wait for it. And then AMD, the big runner potentially of the day, starts to tick higher there. So there goes AMD again, you know, down, like I said, 8-9% over the last couple of days with their earnings now out. We'll see if they can get back to Greensville. But just watching things here, IBIT trying to bounce off. We're looking for that long, if we can get that into 58 or so for IBIT. Other than that, that's all that I'm bidding right now. Long Palantir, long IBIT, long Apple, long TQs, but nothing right now filling as the TQs continue to go higher.
Yeah, and Pinterest did not run the low of the day in that 26 level, so that's not going to be a thing just yet. AMD is popping.
I'm going to try Apple here.
AMD's popping. You did get to that 247 almost exactly, but I said patience is required if fading into anything, especially on a day like today. After what we saw yesterday, that's going to be an absolute guarantee. You want to be patient. I feel the same thing about Intel. Intel initially popped, got right to 37.5.
Right.
Yeah, this one, I mean, 38 is the bigger level, but 37.5 is kind of like that second one as well. So still looking at that and pins. But what has me at least considering hitting that short key is Nvidia. Nvidia, not on Nvidia, but in the other chip names. Nvidia went right to 200 pre-market. I wish I had a level 2 up. Clearly there was a refresher or something at $200 on Nvidia. I don't recall a time where there was something exactly like that. I almost feel like that's an obvious breakout. I don't like any resistance like that for that long in a pre-market. It's falling now, which makes me want to think about that short over in Intel. But Nvidia, that 200 might end up being a breakout if it holds that cleanly of a level. That's just a day trader's automatic setup almost, right? Going to get into some Intel in a second. And again, Pinterest not really doing a heck of a lot yet.
Yeah, we did have about, this was up in the 70s, so we did have about 40 cents of a winner here on Apple, but didn't take it. So we put an offer now at 65. So let's see if Apple, see, there it was. It went up to 75 right there for us as we were just dip buying this name. I'm going to try it early. Like, I'm not sure what this market wants to do today, as we've talked about that a couple times. So I'm going to wait to see about this yesterday's bottom of 267.50. If that prints out for us, then we will drop out of this one and not, like, you know, commit that crime of averaging in over and over and over again. Palantir is actually coming in right now.
Nvidia is still falling.
Yeah, the market, I mean, the market's come back in a little bit here, right? And so we're just going to be patient with what we're doing. We did get some Palantir here at 186, very, very small position. Like I said, not willing to.
Of course, SMCI is squeezing.
SMCI is squeezing, okay. Not willing to do too much with this yet. Let's see if it wants to bounce. We'll put an offer at 50 for 5% or so, and then we'll see if Palantir can get back up to, you know, 187. We'll put another offer there. But there it is. We're trying to go upside there. Oh, Apple. So Apple just fell out of favor right there. So a name that I thought I really liked today, I guess the market doesn't, as there goes Apple all the way down. And fine by me, man. We'll take that hit 10 times out of 10. Pretty good one. Now let's let it settle down until we can find some more levels for Apple. Like, I don't know if even Benzinga is working. I don't hear anything right now, but I don't know if there's news on this, but Apple really getting cranked right there. Maybe some support if we were really patient down into 266 and change, but for right now, this name continues to go lower. I wish we had that short thinking, our short cap on for this one. We wrote down Palantir 185, so we have a very, very small take right now at 186, looking to average into this as it comes back in again. We'll take some 185.50s, and look, we thought the long might have been in today. Maybe it's not. But we'll have to be
on
patient.
AMD, I think it is.
Okay, on AMD. Okay,
I'll quickly get to AMD in a second. Intel got to that 37.5. There's your lower high. Shorted it at 38 and then at 36. Going to play into the early volume weighted average price. Like, respect the fact that overall the market has been trying to bounce, and this is looking relatively strong. So short here, looking for VWAP and then 37. I'm also into Lumen, which the only thing that gives me some pause is it was a bit of a bigger dip in Palantir than it was in Lumen. Lumen tried to break down underneath yesterday's low. I'm going to give it to not the wick high, but that maybe just a little bit underneath. Actually, you know what? No. Structure should be the same. I have to give it to that top, otherwise it doesn't make any sense. But I have to talk about AMD for everybody out there. Keep throwing those symbols in. I see most people using that dollar sign to put in your symbols, but not everybody. If you want to talk about a symbol or you want it to be of interest, then you've got to type dollar sign first, everybody. That way it shows up on the visualizer. I'm gonna refresh it right now. I want to refresh it right now. Remind everybody, type in dollar sign. I know Lemonade also reported, by the way, and we'll get to that one a little bit later. So there's a quick refresh. Just want to see from the open what you guys are talking about the most. And SPY heading the list is we just broke VWAP on the futures.
Yeah, no, the market.
As strong as AMD was, it tagged 250 and pulling right back in. So much for that on AMD. I was about to tell you this stock was looking like it was going to break 250. And then I go up, look at the stock visualizer, and it's right back at the volume-weighted average price.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a different mode that I thought we were going to be facing here today. I'm going to try Palantir back through. Okay, there it goes. I was going to try Palantir back through 185, for a possible gain here. We'll see if we can get this out on the upside of this, but could drop down one more time here as Palantir got hit pretty good there off the open. We'll try it back through 185 and just try to get a level that I liked and see if the pressure of that would bust through. So we'll see about this long. Okay, here it comes back in a little bit. We'll get some out at 40s. We just got some out at 30s. We'll get some out at 40s if we can, and then we'll see if we can get something up near 186 as we make a little bit of money back here. Well, so far anyways, who knows where this is going to go. We're only at a 10% right now, as maybe that was the bump up and then the stop completely outside there. We did write down TQQs long around this 109 to 110. Looks like that held so far 110, but to try to catch something, it's only 935. We're already 0 for 2 on the longs, and it looks like right here, Palantir might want to go right back into those levels again to the long side. But like I said, trying to be patient and not really using too much buying power here to get these trades going, just trying to sit around and see if we can make something happen to be able to hold for a little bit of a longer give up here back upside, because now we're down 0.3. Like, I thought this market had a good chance of rallying here today, especially with AMD
it's
trying to get back.
It's only 7 minutes in.
Yeah, it's no problem. It's just, yesterday was not the greatest day, and let's just see if today can somehow hold a little bit there. But TQ's trying to bounce off this level. I don't want to regret not taking this, but the market doesn't look great right here.
So I reloaded in Intel because when the market broke the volume-weighted average price, Pinterest also did that move, but I'll get there in a second. We wicked 37.5 again, so if that's the level, this time, bit of a better entry. I got 45s instead of down here in the 30s, but higher lows being put in Intel. So I have to respect that. If you're putting in higher lows and my shorts are getting in at higher highs as well, then that tells me it's trending up. And if it's trending up, then got to take profit. I might consider covering that all at VWAP, but for now, holding into the volume-weighted average price. Pinterest did do that false break of 26, or like the break of 26, got to 25.96, and right back up through 26. I got 4s, 3.5s actually. It rounds up, and I'm playing this one in the volume-weighted average price. So I'm playing this 26, and then we'll try to get it all out in front of 26.5. And if you hear a loud noise, remember, we're doing renovations around here.
What loud noise?
Oh, actually, that's not the renovation. I think they're snaking the pipes. That's what it sounds like to me.
I don't know. Yeah, it's probably.
I think they are snaking the pipe.
Okay.
That's what it sounded like.
Making my snake, man. There it goes. TQQs. Again, at least we wrote down 110, and we got a little bit of that. We got 110.30s right now as this is trying to rally back up to the upside. So only 4 names on the sticky note, or 4 names. Palantir, IBIT, Qs, and Apple. It was Apple that was really the sort of the move that we were not expecting right down to there. It's right back up into 268 again, which is the levels that we liked, but Yeah, big dip down there for AAPL. Was not looking at that properly, I guess. Still waiting for a bigger move here. In Palantir, what's going on with Nvidia? We didn't even check out gold yet or anything. So Nvidia is still underneath 200. It did get back up there in the pre-market, and that was going to be a good level right there to play off of if you're now short, because we tried to break that yesterday in the afternoon and really didn't do it in the last hour. And then we just tried here again in the pre-market, only to fail one more time. So if you're going to go short Nvidia, which I am not, that would be a good level there. And I don't necessarily think it's a great breaking long level here on Nvidia, but it might be worth having a look if it does get into there. All right, so we did get out of some more Palantir as it took out some 30s again, and we just got you know, these are 30, 40, 50 cent winners. We already took about $1 hit the first time, so we're not going to be positive on that yet, but we are looking to do something here. TQs, there it goes. Yes, sir. So this is, remember I was like, you know what, I'm a little nervous about putting something on here on the Qs, but again, we wrote down 110, so that level is still trying to hold out for us. If you're looking for some notes, it's at Trader TV Sean on X and on Instagram for our sticky notes. So there it is, man. We had Palantir long 185. We're in that right now. We've got the IBIT dip. We've got the Qs into 110 long. It's at 111. And then we have Apple, which was the wrong one for the long near the bottom. So we did get hit on Apple. We're going to be patient now and just to see if these markets want to go anywhere other than down. And there it is right now. Yeah, let's spin it. There's $1 now on Palantir as we almost make it all back now as this name continues to rock a little higher. It's PLTR. There it is. Yes, sir. Your first dollar winner. For me anyways, I already had a dollar loser on Palantir. So just getting back to green here on PLTR.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that the pins went as far as it did here, but it did turn around. I played it to VWAP, as said, 26 to 26.5. It went up to 26.75. There's always a chance it starts putting in some higher lows, and you can hold on to the volume weighted average price, look for a little something else there. But I also said, remember the cautionary tale on Intel. It's putting in higher lows, so you want to stay green on the stock in an uptrend and be patient about it. Then take profit, do not reload, and then get out. I can always look for another entry point or just not trade this one at all. So I'll get away from this one temporarily. Thankfully, it worked early, but if the market continues to trend up, you don't want to be fighting it. Lumen, oh goodness, blue ocean. All right, while that loads, I'll just show you the chart that I'm looking at for Lumen, and that'll load in a quick little second. Was able to get filled right at that low, trying to kind of short it in front of the high, all these lower highs just like yesterday. So every single pop, as long as we don't break out that top, I want to stay net short this bad boy. And then pins, again, I'll jump back into pins if it can show me it can hold VWAP. Right now, it is not looking like that at all. Almost right back into that 26 level. So gave you like a 3% bounce. I took 2, but it's down 20%.
Yeah.
I mean, pins is absolutely getting smoked. And I see Let's Go Bitcoin. If I'm talking about patience, I have to be patient. It's so, I want to short this high, like the current pre-market high, but pre-market levels don't mean as much here on Bitcoin. Really, the big level is a little bit closer to 105 on IBIT, on Bitcoin. So until it gets there, again, patience is going to be required here on IBIT. It's not a huge move, still very much of an inside day, and a lot remains to be seen before you get really bullish on this thing.
Yeah, we're still waiting for things to develop a little bit. We did get out of, we're at 50% of our Palantir. I mean, it ripped upside again. Look at this market coming right back in. It should give me an opportunity to reload some of these TQQs. I'm bidding 21s there. We missed it. So let's try again. We'll bid some 30s and cancel our 21s right now on that, and then get a little closer into 110 if we can. And then we're going to watch out for that low again to come in for the TQs. Let's just reload it a little bit as the market's just doing this. Like I've already said, you know, not worth like getting too excited over everything here, but we are back into the TQs. And then Palantir, where's my stop for that? We were going to use sort of the low there of 183. I'm going to try to wait for that. There it is. Okay, so for 184, and that just came in real quick right there. So a little bit of a reload there on Palantir. Let's see if this one has the juice to get back upside for us. We'll take something out here in the 40s if we can get it, and then we'll go in the 60s. There it is, and then we'll go in the 60s, see if we can get that. But Palantir trying its best to battle back here. 183 and change is a good stop out spot for me over there. TQ's also trying to battle off of that level. So let's get another out here on the TQs if we can get it. So far so good on a couple different reloads right now in the market. So reloaded on TQs and reloaded here on PLTR. Let's see which one can get going further for us here. I think the TQs is a little safer of a bet right now rather than dancing with the name that reported yesterday. But we're going to get out one more piece here on the Qs into the 60s and see if we can, there it is. Ooh, we're at 67s. And there. So far so good here. Yeah, that stupid number. But here comes Palantir again, right back down again. So good couple outs there. We got one in the 60s, maybe the 70s even. Come on, Palantir. Let's see if we can get back into that 186 area PLTR.
Yeah, and I've got my order now for Nvidia. It's just too clean of a look if it can do this. There's your $200 level. For whatever reason, I guess somebody was refreshing and holding 200 pretty much for a half an hour in the pre-market. It just broke VWAP, so orders in. If it breaks, I'm not taking it. Obviously, I'm not taking it if it doesn't break. And we've got actual economic data to talk about with Adara in about 10 seconds.
We do. We're waiting here in just 10 seconds for S&P Services PMI and Composite PMI Services. We are expecting to come in here at 55.2%, previous at 55.2, composite PMI 54.9 is the estimate compared to the prior print of 54.8. So both of these coming lower than expected. S&P Services PMI 54.8, below estimates of 55.2. S&P Composite PMI 54.6, below estimates of 54.9. At 10 a.m. we get the more closely watched print. That'll be the ISM Services PMI. So S&P Services and Composite both below estimate. The ISM Services PMI on watch at 10 a.m. Also scheduled to begin here at 10 a.m. is the Supreme Court hearing on the U.S. tariffs. Back to you.
All right, so boom goes a dynamite a little bit for the upside. But
you know how long that's going to, well, we don't know how long that'll be. It's the Supreme Court hearing on the tariffs. So that's the thing. You got to keep your ear to the ground because anything, look, obviously, I think that could be a little bit of a long process, but certainly that's going to be able to move the market, so you're going to want to see how that's going, or at least hear some reaction to it. So two things we already talked about. I already mentioned Nvidia 200, but if the chips are going higher and the market's going higher, that means second level is incoming here on Intel, and that's the $38 level. So shorted at the 37.5, got a couple of legs out, higher lows though, so did not reload a third time. That's at least an improvement from some of the shorting yesterday that I had on not just this stock, but others. $38. This is where I'm looking for a trend reversion on Intel. So we're gonna have to be patient, wanna make sure we sniper it. And then of course, Pins is not holding VWAP, but it's holding a higher low. It has a chance to get above VWAP and maybe break up a second level. Otherwise, I'd have to wait for that $26 level one more time. Lumen, I haven't been watching Palantir as much, but this did a similar thing yesterday where the short came in much, much later in the day. And I was short the structure underneath. Eventually I had to get out and then wait for it to break trend. So it's setting up like the same thing. I do not want to get terribly stubborn. If it breaks the high, I'll just jump out of it and then wait for something a little bit later on in Lumen. If I'm basing it on a higher time frame, like this fail on the 15-minute, it hasn't even put in a second 15-minute candle. So I can wait for that one for another chance. But I think Nvidia breaking that 200 is going to come in very imminently. It's at 199.6.
Ooh, go.
Yeah, just sort of trending right into that top. So there was a refresher there before. Sometimes that means there's still a seller. And I hope there is a seller there because it makes a breakout trade better.
Guys, we are absolutely huge. You come back from Neil and you see what's been going on. We've just been quiet, man. We're waiting for Palantir. Palantir, we have double dollar clubs right now. So this is what I'm saying. Completely, this is the style that I'm trying to rock with right now. There it goes, man. Up $1.70 now on Palantir. Up $1.30 now on the Nasdaq. And there, look at this TQ's trade here, Sharif. We wrote down 110 on the sticky note. There's 110. There's 110 again. There's 111.50 right there. We wrote down 185 on the sticky note for Palantir. This is 186 for PLTR. So yeah, man, Greensville all over the place, except for Apple. As we lost on Apple. But there it is, man. The big you know, the big trade here for me obviously is going to be, actually it's going to be TQs because P&L wise, because we didn't mess this one up. We waited, we got the level that we wrote down and it actually just played for us. It's not, the other levels we wrote down were like, we liked Apple. We took it and that's trading. You lose on it, but you just battle right back, man, and you got these big bangers on one more time. There goes the market. Let's see if this market really goes, Neil. It's now $2 here on PLTR. So let's just go, man. I'm just going to sit here and relax and wait to see, you know, where this market takes us. We've got huge trades on, and often I'll get out way too early, so let's not do that. But I see what the TQs are doing, and I am going to take an opportunity to get that out. Over $4 now in total trades as Neil takes the Nvidia break. I like that. Let's see what happens through 200.
Well, we'll see if it holds, but it's not looking like it's doing much of anything right now. Someone just stepped in at the 3/4 mark. I don't know if this one's going to go very cleanly here. Sometimes it has to go a couple of times, and if that's the case, I'm not holding it. I just punched out when it broke that. There was a buyer at 75. I wanted to see if he could hold it first time. He did not, but VWAP's $1.50 down. I'm not holding this $1.50 against me. Either a breakout trade works right away, or I wait for a bit of a dip buy opportunity. Again, that's just my style. You know, if you still like the long in Nvidia, maybe you want to hold on to it, but not me. If it's going to be a long, I can long at $1 lower, $1.50 lower. I always try to keep it in the pocket in this particular case. There's plenty of room if it breaks 200 to yesterday's high at 204. That's $4 worth of upside if it's going to rally all day long. That said, doesn't mean I want to hold it $1.50 against me. You have to be pretty sure about that. I think we made the right call in terms of getting out of Intel, but it did get to that 38 level. There's your top at 38. Now it's going to close underneath, so that's what I was waiting for. And now we can take a shot. Just like the earlier short, allow it to make a high and then get in after the fact. That 38 did hold, but 38.03 is the actual high of the day. So the stop goes above that. And I'll take this one to the south side in a couple of pennies or so.
All right, everybody. Let's have a quick little look to see what's going on here. We'll soon start to ask you what names you guys want us to look at. We can do that very, very easily, and we will do that very, very shortly. Right now, Apple's still down that 0.7. That's interesting to me, as I thought the long was there for Apple. Google's still up 1% as that's going. We saw some good strength in banks yesterday, but today Bank of America down 3%. Interesting. I might have to look at that myself. Walmart down 1% again, and some of these home, Costco, I was looking at Home Depot, but some of these retailers starting to go downside again. We saw some nice moves yesterday. And oh boy, there goes Eli Lilly, now 2.74% right now for Eli Lilly. So that's a nice little mover there today as well. Amgen off earnings last night, 4.7%. So there are lots of pockets. There are pockets of strength for sure here today, including energy, XOM, CVX, all of these names starting to go a little bit here today. So yeah, not too bad. All right, so Palantir did make a dip down into 185 again, but we're not reloading anything. We got a bunch out up top. Let's just let this market fade. Look what's happening right here in the TQs though. This is now $1.50. So the market could, I mean, wow, this has been a big trade for me, but the market continues to rally, but not Palantir. So let's give that a breath.
And while we do so, we got good news and exciting news out of Canada for your sophisticated traders that are located here. Beta Pro by Globex Canada is the largest provider of leveraged, inverse, and inverse leverage ETFs, and they've just launched 6 new triple leverage ETFs, giving you 3 times bull and 3 times bear exposure to the S&P TSX 60, semiconductors, and U.S. Treasuries. And they're also offering you a special fee rebate. Management fees are going down to just 65 basis points until December 31st this year. And on top of that, U.S.-focused strategies use currency hedging, and that offers a better potential for purer performance and exposure. So if you are a tactical and sophisticated trader and are looking to amplify your performance, check out betapro.ca/3x daily to learn more. Scan the QR code you see right in front of you on screen. Shout out to them. And if you're trading those, hopefully it's to the upside. Market is screaming, and it looks like if there's a secondary break, I don't mind taking it here. As I said, there's plenty of room. We didn't get all the way down into the volume weighted average price on Nvidia, but it is trying to retake that $200 level. I already see AMD's already through $250, and it's going. Obviously, this is a key psychological level here on Tesla. I just saw a super chat in here, and I'm not sure I think I know what you mean by this one. how long a break should be, 10 seconds or more, I look at the tape. The time doesn't necessarily, I'm assuming you mean like how long do you think should it have to hold above a breakout price before you like it or don't like it? I'm more concerned with the tape. Like, I want to see actual bids above the 200 level, not just a bunch of people that are stopping in and sort of hitting the offer. I want to see buyers step in on the bid, which actually is now happening. Like, buyers actually stepped in. The last time it broke, all you had was people's stops getting triggered off, but the bid wasn't increasing. Now the bid's actually increasing over here. So I don't really have a timeline for that. Sorry, if it was that simple, I would tell you.
Yeah, I mean, and again, like, yeah, just pick out whatever is working for you guys. I mean, that's really, I think, what Neil and I, we always talk about here on the show is that, you know, what works for some people might not work for others. I know Obi, I think, does sort of time-based stuff, so that would be a good question.
Actually, that's right, he does, yeah.
Yeah, so that would be a good question to maybe throw by him and see, you know, what his opinion on things like that are. But yeah, no, it's just a matter of preferences, so that's why we talk like that. And yeah, you know, find something that's working out for you and just do it. I mean, we've already found what's working for us. And those are just dip buys and support and resistance and putting out notes like the sticky note. There it is right now. The TQs have a bias early. We were biased long, which is why I was like, what the hell is going on with Apple? Wow, okay, well now it's right back up. But you know, that was my sort of bias there today. So I think that there's really, that's the most important thing is stick with, like if you're biased long here in the market today, then yeah, you don't stop out right away. Like Neil's stop out was what it was, right? For me, I give Nvidia at least 50 cents. You know, and that was 199.50 was the bottom. So to me, that would have been my spot. But again, it's just that's what it is, right? Doesn't have to be time-based or dollar-based or anything like that. But shout out to the question, and we want to thank you for all of that. And look, NVIDIA's not really doing anything. And part of getting out also lets you look in other places. That's the other thing too, right? So you're not like married to a stock, right? Like I'm not even really looking at Palantir here. I have my order set. Look at what this stock's doing, by the way. Like this is really, there it is. This is really getting hit right now. So we're going to wait to see if 183 holds, which it may not. That's going to be my level right now for Palantir. But we're back into the money a little bit here if it can break above 184 again. So that might be okay. So let's see if we get a little bit of a rally. Again, patiently waiting for this price. But look at the action on the, thank you so much, Randy. That's very kind of you.
Oh, thanks.
Right there. Looking for the price action here to settle down. And it looks like it, there it goes lower. So we will flush that out. As you can see, Palantir flushed there, but it's the Nasdaq continues to go higher. So don't be married to one idea. If your levels hit, get out. And there goes Palantir to the downside. But Randy, this is what we're talking about. It's this trade right here on the TQs, right? That is starting to get a little exciting. But yeah, stay with your guns and get it all figured out. But that's that. And here you go, Randy. You were looking at Rivian before. There goes Rivian right now, up 10%, near that $14 mark, which it needs to break out from.
14's a huge level.
So we'll see what happens right there as TQs continue to go, and so does Rivian. Holy schmoly for Rivian, guys.
Yeah, I might have to set that order. We said wake me up when Rivian breaks the 14 level, and I don't know. I'm awake now. But Tesla, I said Tesla for Nvidia. Nvidia failed the quarter again on the break. Jump in on the secondary break. This time it actually had a level to work with. The first break, you don't have a dip buy level or a pullback that it did previously. This time there was. I put it like 5 cents underneath. It did not break it. I have not added back into what I scalped out yet, and I don't think I want to unless it starts closing bars above 200. So now all of a sudden, it's either it can break out, it can break down underneath, in which case I'll stop out and wait for VWAP, or if it can start holding 3-minute bars above 200, that's another way to add. I already have targets laid out at this level, and 202 was a big level from earlier. The other thing that is happening is wow-wa-wee-wa.
Yeah.
I said get out and be patient with Lumen. I don't okay, for me, Lumen was supposed to do what Palantir was doing to a certain extent. They're not the same stock. But it's going up, and it's right back at the $11 level as Palantir is going down. So, you know, I'm looking for the reversion. I actually had to wait for half of the day for this to actually turn into a good short, and I'm willing to do so. But it's got almost a full trend line forming. Like the next time it breaks out a high and then dips, I think at that point I might have something to work with again on LUMN. And as far as Pinterest goes, this was the Huadunk of the day. Yeah, as the market flies, it's still not holding VWAP. So the initial bounce gave you a pretty clean move, a couple points up. it's no longer doing anything. Might be a bit of a nothing burger there for Pinterest. And on to the other reporting names, one of which was Unity, and that got squashed open. Still up 11.5%, but Unity's calmed down. Someone asked me about this in the morning, and I said, let this one calm down. I think it was so far from VWAP, maybe let it dip down in a little bit and settle down. It seems like it's doing that and it's trying to hold 40. If I can see it break away from there, then Unity becomes a tradable name for myself. There was this and there was like Lemonade that we didn't really get. That we didn't get the cover in the pre-market show that had.
You did mention, I think, right off the jump. There was.
I might have
mentioned something like the crazy.
Well, we didn't cover.
I remember Unity was definitely.
We didn't cover Upstart either.
Right.
Those guys reported.
Okay, well, Palantir broke and we just got right back in. You know, that maybe we were wrong on 183 as being our out. So we did get out there at one. We actually got a better price than 183. I don't know, it just went back and forth, but then we got another long back on for this. So yeah, I'm fine with it. You know, I understand that if some of you aren't in this name, obviously I did get out and then back into it there for PLTR. But, you know, have the ability to do stuff like that. I think that's very important to get back and forth with names and focus on the structure of the trade rather than like, oh my God, I stopped out at that level, therefore it's over with. Because we did leave our good friend Apple alone, and now that is well over where we were long at, and we should have been able to identify that bottom there for Apple. So I feel a little bit some kind of ways for that. But other than that, man, we're still nicely in the money here on the futures, continue to go higher. We nailed that one today. And then Palantir, and then the other name, I know Neil's been on it, but I've been looking at Nvidia as well. That's trying to break through 200. It doesn't look like it wants to. Day two play for possibly for Uber as well. That could be something that's considered here a decent trade into what's a falling name with the market going upside. If you like Uber, you like Uber. There goes Palantir. Like, so that was good that we took some money out. We have ISM non-manufacturing PMI right now. Let's go get it from Adara.
This came in higher than expected, guys. Higher than expected ISM manufacturing PMI print, 52.4, above estimates of 50.8. Now that's compared to lower than expected S&P services and composite PMI. So again, better than expected ISM services PMI print here, or higher than expected anyway. As we get this number, we get the Nasdaq currently oscillating a little bit here. We did have a little bit of a weekday, or more than a little bit of a weekday, sold off for a lot of the day here on the Nasdaq amidst some fears with AI. But as I mentioned, some strength this morning. Now we have to talk about some of these AI and semiconductor-related earnings names. Of course, there were a ton of earnings to digest, and there will be this whole week. But AMD, probably the most name, or I guess the biggest name on watch from last night, beating here on Q3 EPS and sales, and they also had better than expected guidance initially, though trading lower. SMCI, on the other hand, actually missed EPS and sales guidance, though we already knew the sales are going to be a bit weak because they provided preliminary earnings. However, they did raise their fiscal 2026 revenue guide, initially seeing more than $33 billion in revenue for the year. Now they see more than $36 billion in revenue for the year, and their Q2 sales guide also stronger than expected. We had earnings as well from names like Novo Nordisk. We had McDonald's, we had Upstart, as mentioned, Rivian, so tons of earnings plays on watch. As we take a moment to thank our friends at Origenics, OGEN. Each year there is 3.8 million concussions are reported in the US, but there's still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE listed Origenics, OGEN, is changing that with its first-in-class intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access. With the concussion treatment market projected to reach $8.9 billion by 2027, Origenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more and schedule a meeting today. Back to Neil and Sean.
Thank you. Shout out to Origenics.
Yeah.
We did get a super chat, but it was a simple one from Ashar.
Oh, okay.
He just said thank you.
Like simple one.
Thank you, Ashar. There's another one too? Okay, well, throw that one up as well.
Yeah.
Chris, Lily, 1K still up for debate.
Did it?
Well, I was the one that was like, it's not going to happen yesterday. Obviously, it didn't, especially by Thursday, but I only wanted to share Sam's tweet yesterday because Adara watches Lily often. Thanks for what you do. Eli Lilly's an absolute monster. Oh, that's right. You were saying by Thursday. It wasn't by yesterday. It was by Thursday, which that's asking a lot. It's still asking a lot. As much of a rocket ship as this is, it doesn't seem like it's got the juice to be able to do that by tomorrow. But how about, why don't we just shoot for next week, right? Sometime next week. So by the end of next week, I think this has a chance to get to that 1,000. Just too many levels to get through on Eli Lilly. I love the stock. I own the stock, so like I'm rooting for it too. Up 3%. Like this over Novo Nordisk is like one of the easiest decisions out there. Everyone wants to bottom pick Novo. Why? Why do we always want to bottom pick stocks?
Oh, it's stupid.
Which, whatever. Like I say this as a person who bought some Lululemon shares yesterday, or 2 days ago. Sorry. Beginning of the month, man. It was a monthly setup, so I'm working into Lululemon. Nvidia is still doing an absolute nothing burger. I did get into a trend break on Intel, but that's at that same $38 level. And right now, like I look up and it's like Nvidia, AMD, Palantir, META, Rivian. The only name that is on that at the top of the list that we haven't looked at today is META. Every single one of them we've covered. I think Rivian's headed to that 14. META's up 1%. The stink bid, I know what I told myself. If I didn't get my stink bid, and we didn't get it again here today in the morning in my long-term account, which is at 22.22, that I probably just bite the bullet and nibble in today at lunch because it's held on to this bottom for like a second time in a row. So META recovery is ongoing, but it's early. Like I said, it's early. In 2 hours or in like an hour or so, META could be at $622, and then I'm still putting that order in. Another false. Look at this time. Nvidia just went up to the $0.50 and right back in. This does not look like it wants to go. If anything, this just feels like it's going in the other direction. So I just trimmed some out of an abundance of caution because I don't like that topping tail candle. Like that topping tail just again heavily failed it. I'm gonna leave the stop in for the other half, but I don't like that topping tail candle. I'm not saying I'm gonna go short it, but it just makes all the sense in the world to trim. Like the way I'm looking at it is if I leave it to the stop, then I'll be down on it kind of like what I would lose on a good like AMD day yesterday, right? So now I can't lose that much, and I don't like the way this is setting up. Futures are also pulling back in. Could be wrong about it. My stop's still in just underneath that 50 level. I think it's actually at 42. Intel, that just broke the trend line and finally closed underneath. If I draw it for you, Intel right to that 38 level. The chips have been strong this morning. I wanted to wait for us to get to that key price level, but now that it's broken underneath, it still hasn't closed under. So I'm not even adding to this until it closes underneath that trend line. Nvidia might work, but it made sense to me to trim there.
All right, good. That's all it has to do is make sense. All right, so we've got a new position alert. It's Rivian. We just went short 83s there. We got 76s for 10%, hoping for a downside push right now in Rivian, right? And so we'll see if it can come up to that. We did top out at 14. Like we should have been sitting there, which we weren't. So that's kind of an epic fail. We're now back into Palantir, of course. As I don't want to leave this one, I still think there's so much upside to PLTR. We've only been sort of nursing this position a little bit. So let's offer some 60s and take that right now on the upside here for the TQs. And there it goes, man. Blast City right now. This is $250 now as that continues to go. Maybe the Palantir bottoms in, maybe it's not, but I'm already out of half of this. I was waiting for 180.50. It went to 181.50 basically and bounced. So I'm okay with this current spot. We'd obviously like to have more shares, but there it is again. It's back in. What's up, Ozan? This is now into the dollar and change and still going, man. Let's offer a little bit more here in the 70s. Boom. There it goes. Yes, finally. There goes Palantir. I'm waiting at 99s as well, just ahead of 184 to get out of another piece. And then we'll let it ride, hopefully. But this is already a sick ride. We're now $4 or $5 almost in. We've got 250 on this, 150, 250 on futures, 150 on Palantir. And so far, so good. But DraftKings, sorry, Rivian did make a dip down. Let's put another bid there at 76 for Rivian. If it does come back in, I'm going to use a gateway where I can just get filled on. Let's go to 77, see if that winds up happening for us. But there's the Palantir. We get that fill at 99, and now we can just wait to see if the market continues its upside push. I mean, we were down 2% yesterday in the Nasdaq, so we're not making all that back. We're making just a piece, and let's see if it can get even better than what we thought right now on the Nasdaq. But those are a couple names. You know, I did bought some Boeing the last couple of days as well. That's still underneath 200. We're long at 203. So that's having a day today of nothing, not doing anything. Right there is Boeing. Other names that I like, we bought some Target. We've been buying Lulu for a while as well. So that's a good name for us. And then Apple was one that I was looking at throughout the day. And it's too bad because it's now above where we liked it. Bank of America was down today, and I saw, I think in our little drop down there that they're having Investor Day. So Bank of America down quite sharply today. So maybe pick something up over here. Well,
that's already at the 50?
Yeah, that's the daily. Well, it's coming back in. Yeah, it was just there 3 days ago. But yeah, there it is, a nice little pullback in for BAC. So, you know, if you get some dips on some of these bank names, I really like the banking sector right now. So, all right, what's up, Adair?
Yeah, the Supreme Court hearing here on with oral arguments on Trump's tariffs. It has started. I'm listening to it right now. If there's anything market moving here, I'll let you know. But I think it's more worth noting that it's happening than anything else. Again, if it does move the market or if anything massive is said or argued here, I'll let you know.
Yeah, again, thank you very much there, as always. I don't think you get anything crazy fast out of that. Like, when do we know these things resolve themselves quickly? My answer would be maybe not, but you still want to keep your ear to the ground. I was asked in the chat about reloading pins. I'm not, like, it's not about reloading it. I'm not in it. Like, it was a scalp trade, if anything else, off the low, and it hasn't retested the low. It was at exactly $26 that it bounced. Like, the low of the day is $25.96. So at 26.25, that's like 1% off the bottom. So it's either holding VWAP above where we exited, and I can join there, or I wait for it to get to the low, or maybe it was just a one-off trade. And there isn't a second opportunity in pins. It's trending down. These guys missed top and bottom. And on top of that, if they sold Meta's report, and I know Meta's not the same thing as Pinterest, it's like way better, then why would Pinterest get bought up if Meta couldn't get bought up for a couple of days? So that, like, the SSR trade's kind of a gimmick trade. You're just looking for a mean reversion early. And I'm not married to the notion that that support level turns into like an automatic buy. Like, I'm not buying Pinterest in my long term. This was although this was one of, like, I made like 3 or 4 like decent sized plays in COVID. This one was all, like you said, because of your wife. It's exactly the same thing. My wife was on Pinterest like every day during COVID, so I bought the stock, and it hasn't done very well since. Like, to me, like, once this had the COVID unwind, there's been zero reason to get into it. There's been some takeout rumors, though, so I guess that's a positive potential catalyst. I don't know. I don't even know if that happens, but I'll say it because it's been out there before for Pinterest. That would be good for them. I think that would be their best case scenario, I think, would be to get some kind of a takeout. They still have a good user base. Obviously, that's got to be valuable to somebody.
All right, yeah, I would think so. You know, eBay's, Pinterest, like all these sort of like
I could see it.
Other kind of websites out there other than.
I don't own the stock for that purpose. I don't even own it at all, by the way. Get out of it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't like the stock at all. But okay, so Rivian's starting to go back up. I'm going to try 13.95. We'll try halfway there and see if we can get something for Rivian. So if it does bump up, I mean, it's bouncing off right now 92. I could take right here. I'm just saying, why not just wait? If we get one more little push, there it comes right here. We should be able to short 95. Now remember where our out's going to be at 14. I just want to take a shot here. It's not a big. Big shotter at all. But if it does break 14, we want to get out. And even just one little break, I mean, the highest is 97s. So it's hasn't even really seen this level yet. That's Rivian. I'm going to still sit out in the Palantir and hope for the best on that stock. We sort of talked about what we're thinking about there. And now that we're short at 88s, we could put a new bid maybe for Palantir or for Rivian. Low 80s, like if we can get like an 83 or something like that, that could be something. But there it is. Okay, well, now we don't have to worry about that because there goes Rivian, hit the sirens, breaking back above 14. So that's fine. We tried that. That was a level that we had talked about. And I'm surprised Rivian's up here now going. So this was one name that, again, remember, it wasn't as hot fire there off of the earnings report. It was only up 4 or 5%. And then we were like, well, the expected move was 10%. Well, there it goes right now, extending higher. So
what are they still
wait to see if Rivian continues to break through. I mean, it's a great level 14 that it's holding. Well, just broke. So let's see if it does wind up going. But yeah, earnings plays, look, I don't want to put too much into them. Like yesterday on AMD, it was too topsy-turvy, and obviously earnings are today on that name. I've stayed away from it. Yesterday, Palantir, I didn't even really trade Palantir yesterday, and we're back on it on day 2. So I would just say, this is what happens on earnings, man. It sometimes can go its own little way, and we'll see if Rivian can continue. Hopefully it does, and we can bounce off 14, and then that is, our new support level. Resistance broken turns into support. So let's see if Rivian gives us, that 14 long now potentially.
Yeah, that would be
Rivian shorts crushed.
Yeah, I was just sort of reading some of Sharif's note on Rivian because I was curious. I didn't see it in there, but I was sort of curious as to what they're losing per vehicle.
30,000, I thought.
Is that what it is?
Someone
It's still 30,000. Okay, so that didn't markedly improve. Because I think if that has a number that's not a 3, like a 2, or even like the teens, I'd feel a little bit better about it. Because that is a breakout on the daily, but without improving fundamentals, I don't know if that's the one I want to grab. Well, one of these two things is probably not going to work. Long Nvidia, short Intel. And I'm guessing it's the long Nvidia at this particular point. So Intel's pulling back into VWAP, but here's Nvidia. This will probably, it's still holding on to this elongated bull flag, or whatever the heck we're calling it, this long consolidation. And it's been a while, but it feels like it wants to break back down in here. The market got to the Nasdaq got to 25.7 and seems to be curling. Just a little bit on the 15-minute. So in about 1 minute, this bar is going to potentially close with a topping tail. And if that does happen, I think you could at least pull back into the pre-market high or the volume weighted average price. That's exactly what's happening also in Nvidia. Like I said, I had trimmed some. It then broke back out, went back in at that 200 area, and trying to just scalp this one into that first dollar. Only in these two names. Pins is still doing a heck of a lot of nothing. But I looked up and I saw a name on here, the visualizer, that we did not discuss. That almost every single day gets discussed around here, and I just typed in SoFi in the wrong order. So I almost did something else there. But SoFi failed at exactly $30. Shame on you, SoFi. SoFi is love the stock, but it's doing a heck of a lot of nothing in terms of holding on to the $30 level. Here's a better look at it on the 15-minute chart. So 2 days ago, it broke and went $1 off 30. Yesterday, it broke and went 80 cents off of 30. Today, it broke and went 6 cents off of 30, which is a long way of saying it's putting in these lower highs on a bounce. I don't like that setup, unfortunately. It's trending almost like down into a potential bottom break here at 29. So SoFi, another day, another failed breakout. As I said, I didn't think one of these two was going to work. It ends up being true that it's Nvidia. So we'll probably get that VWAP on Intel. End up being a wash, though, unfortunately, on that reload. Nvidia is not going to do it. And if it's not going to be as good as, like the long here isn't as good as the short was on AMD. So, I don't want to fight this one too much. It seems like it wants VWAP. Intel, I should be getting another leg out. Oh, I already did in front of VWAP. Now I'm just looking for a hold. I moved my stop to the break even, which is the prior bar. So if it breaks that prior bar high, that'll be like 38.01. So I can put my stop at like 38.02 or 03, whichever one, doesn't really matter. And if we break VWAP, I can hold on to this. So Intel working to the downside. I just saw Tobes in the chat. Tobes.
What's up, Tobes?
Tobes in the chat. Remember to put $.
Right.
BBAI is not on the visualizer right now.
What?
And you could help it out by putting $BBAI. This is what happens when you do so. I'm going to do it myself.
Yeah, do it yourself.
You'll see it drop down, and there you go. That was actually really fast. I think someone else did it. That one was me. And now BBAI is going to show up because everyone's typing BBAI. And it's important because we can't track everything. BBAI isn't on my e-signal screener for something that's going crazy.
It's only at 5%.
I have Nvidia, Tesla, Beyond Meat's on mine. Rigetti's up there in terms of movers. BBI is up 5%, but it's not popping off on the tape. It's certainly popping off on the chart. Maybe yesterday breakout, 6:15. When do they report? You said next week, right?
The 10th, yeah, next week.
Yeah, so they don't report till next week. It's a little far away from the catalyst to think that it's got like a reason or juice enough to break through here. But yeah, next week for sure is going to be a big one for BBAI. Ooh, the 200 period moving average. That's a good level. It's got some good levels on it. I just don't know what's going to get it to do a little more than just a small recovery day, which is what we're getting so far.
Yeah, the brigade is all over that one, guys. We like BBAI, and we're still long $4, so we'll wait to see where that goes. And we got some, remember, 650, 750, 850. We've already done that. So now we wait to see if we get better earnings or not. Look, the one that was really missed today, I put my shopping list out. So what's up to Let's Go Jays in the chat.
Great name.
Wanted the shopping list, and Google was on it, man. And we only had 4 or 5 names, but there it goes. Nice upside play for Google. Just continuously, just representing those earnings, man. Real strong. And like we said, on dip buy opportunities, you do want to look for names that have potentially been beat up that have had good reports, right? I mean, Meta got hit on they didn't like the report, and META continues to go down. So that makes a little bit of sense there. Palantir got hit on a report that I thought was pretty decent. Here, let me get out another piece right now on Palantir. But there it is, man. Now we're $2 in the money on PLTR, and finally starting to make a little bit of movement here for that stock. And we just got another piece out in the 50s, and I just put an offer again on Palantir at 40. So maybe we can get that, maybe we won't. But a level that I'm looking at there for PLTR into the 40s again. So, all right, let's see if we can get that. Otherwise, we'll have to wait, right? So, you know, just waiting. There's no more numbers to come out. We had the ISM already coming through today. It was kind of a big numbers day overall. But, yeah, just trying to watch out here. Palantir pulling off of that level. And the futures. We don't have a huge position on the futures, which is why we're kind of just like chilling out with them right now. But, yeah, nothing going on here. We just got a piece out there at 112.20. I did want to talk about BAC just because of that dip down here on Investor Day. Kind of difficult to trade that, but if you can break through VWAP at 52.25, I think there's a good opportunity there for BAC. If you can find your way into that name. McDonald's reported this morning, and I don't even know what their numbers were like. Maybe Adara can have that, but looks like they were good. There it is, up 3.5% right now, 310 back to the upside right now for MCD. So yeah, clearing the way. Maybe we could look at some Chipotle or some Kava or something, but it looks like McDonald's right now kicking upside off of their report today. But yeah, maybe the market could roll back here, 25.7. We've been to this level before. Let's see if it holds it, and let's go over right now to Adara.
Yeah, I just want to let you guys know the Supreme Court hearing is still happening with regards to tariffs. The Supreme Court justices seem to have many questions about this argument, specifically with how IEPA could be used in the situation. I'm not going to get into it. It's a lot of legal talk, but either way, it does not sound like things are going incredibly well for this argument towards using IEPA to justify the tariffs, which is basically an act with regards to emergency usage of tariffs. Let's talk here about Big Bear AI, BBAI. Nice pop here for this name. Could not find any news on this, but we know it dropped yesterday. That drop yesterday has been attributed in large part to a decrease in Palantir. Of course, PLTR is a similar lane here as BBAI with regards to contracts. They had earnings yesterday. They did trade lower for much of the day. So BBAI with a rebound and a pretty hefty short float. OPEN, another name much like BBAI that does seem to get a lot of attention from retail investors, open to reporting earnings after the bell tomorrow. So certainly stay tuned for that report. Another name reporting earnings after the bell tomorrow is IREN. This name a little bit more expensive, around $71, but it is moving quite aggressively to the upside today, despite a warning from Jim Chanos that its big deal with Microsoft announced earlier this week could actually not work out so well here for IREN. Let's take a moment here to thank our friends at Trade the Pool before we send you back to Neil and Sean, because for too long, trading meant risking your own money or never having enough to start. The fear of losing. That's what kept so many traders on the sidelines, but now it's changing. The Trade the Pool is transforming how traders access the markets. With its limited risk trading model, traders use funded capital, while Trade the Pool absorbs the downside. This allows traders to focus on what truly matters: discipline, consistency, and growth. When you hit that profit target, you keep 70% of the profits. No barriers, no fear, just real opportunity. This is the revolution of limited risk trading powered by Trade the Pool. Visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code now to get 10% off your first evaluation. Back to you.
Thanks, Adara. Yeah.
Okay, AMD is breaking its trend. I've waited for this one, so you know, you wait for it. It just broke 250. I'm gonna nibble. Technically speaking, I said this before, like it should usually close the candle underneath, but I'm gonna nibble now and then add if we can close that candle, because I don't. If it flashes all the way down to VWAP, I want to have something on board. At this particular point, like when you have that big of a wick, I usually give it to the body high, which is about 250.90. So I'm risking a buck in AMD, but I'm not adding to this position. Not 259, Neil. 250.90, as I almost just mistyped my stop, which you don't want to do. You should always double check your stop orders to make sure you have the right price. Trust me when I tell you that's a mistake you only want to make once, but most traders have made mistakes like that. I can be dead honest with you, like, oh shoot, why didn't my stop go off? And then the first thing you should do is punch out and then figure out why it didn't go off, because maybe you did mistype it. So if this bar closes underneath trend line, I'll add to it, looking for VWAP, which is pretty tight to the volume weighted average price, which Intel is trying to retake as we speak. I thought there was a second super chat that I was going to get to that we might have missed. Oh, there it was. Thank you. Was that Fabian or Andre?
Andre.
That's so fast. Why is UNH dropping so much after a good earnings report? I think we have to remember that.
Is it dropping?
Yeah, absolutely. Like from a technical 100%. Standpoint, the stock is in a downtrend. So look, the quality of the report notwithstanding, I mean, didn't META have a good report? It doesn't really matter. It went right to the 200 period moving average on a T. It has not been able to regain that since it got the dump in April. Like the April dump was breaking the 200 period moving average. It went right there. Now I mentioned that for myself on the swing trade, I would take profit into that, try to hold a third for it to break the 200 period moving average, but once it closed underneath the 50, that was it for me. If my long was in front of the 50 period moving average and then it respected the 200, I'm out of that final like hold for the home run third. And to me, it's just a structural downward trend. Like, why is it down? It's been down every single day since it got to the 200 period moving average. So until it puts some kind of a rounded bottom, I just think it's in the short-term penalty box is the best way to put it. It's just, you know, like it wasn't a stock that was respecting fundamentals for a very long time. I don't know why we wanted to all of a sudden do so. I just think you trade it technically and go from there, and then you like anything else. If you're holding it for the long term because you think it was a good report, then you're probably not scared by that anyways, right? So I think it's a completely different story.
Taking advantage of some of these bumps right now that we're seeing in the market, that's for sure, as getting out a little bit there of TQs, as we just went back up to the highs again there. And of course, we got out some more Palantir as that went back up into the highs. All right. Did you say we had another super chat? All right, thanks. I saw Lil Mama. Thanks for that dollar. There, Lil Mama.
Oh, actually, no.
David, what is the width and height of the mega wall? 27 by 12.
No, but then he says, oh, he wants to guess how many panels.
Oh.
Okay, good. You can guess. I'm pretty sure we already. I think it got said at one point on air, but if you don't know, then fine. Absolutely guess it. But as you said, it was
27 by 12.
27 by 12.
Eat.
So then you can guess how many. Anybody can guess how many panels.
Yeah, exactly. So go, David, and everybody can guess that. But if you know,
it's a lot.
Try to guess the panels. I think you can probably figure it out.
Yeah.
If you know anything about this kind of a system, but yeah, it's gonna be. Oh, there. It's yeah. Now it's like sort of that screen in there behind us. You get a good idea just by seeing these guys walking in front of it exactly how big that screen is. So yeah, we're pretty impressed with it. And yeah, billions and billions. Yeah, that's Ozan got it. So Ozan wins.
Billions.
It's in the billions. So there you go. Congratulations, Ozan, for the winning guess. All right, so there it goes, man. Now more than $2 goes the dynamite here on Palantir and the futures. I just put dip buys in on the TQs. We're not going to get there now. I put it down well, we were just there. But I was actually at VWAP. I wasn't at the 50 period, so I was actually waiting down here just in case we broke through there. We want to buy strong names, and today the futures are strong. And I also put a dip buy also at 181.50 for Google. But okay. That's pulling back in, so maybe we can get that somewhere around here in between where VWAP is and the 200 period moving average. So if we're able to get any sort of a dip buy opportunity here, I think that's something that we would support and cheer for. We did get downside trades in DraftKings over the last couple of days, right? I mean, once that broke through 30, then you've had this sort of a push, right? And right now you're trying to get back upside, it turning positive today. Let's wait to see if and when that, okay, now we're $4, we're $5 now as the Nasdaq gets to the highs on Palantir and on TQs. But I like DraftKings breaking back above $30. Let's check out what Robinhood's doing on a day like today. I'm gonna say Robinhood's like 4 or 5%, honestly, with what's been happening today. It's okay, so it's not almost up nothing, it's up 1%, but I thought it would have been a little bit higher. It's actually not even where it was at the open yet. So Robinhood need to get going here on this name. Thought it would have been a little bit better with this get up here in the market. I see Palantir going. You mentioned SoFi in and around 30.
But that was
and I got to take some Advil because I have like a screaming headache. I woke up with a bad headache today.
I've been I know what my headaches are from. I'm getting like tension headaches because I have like really bad knots in my back and shoulder that I cannot for
Hard
life
to sleep when that happens.
Well, I'm literally I can't find a good sleeping position. Like I'm waking up with the headache because I have like neck tightness, And I've changed my pillow. I've done like literally everything I can think to do, and it's like so frustrating. I have to try to find a different position. There is no Meta news that I'm aware of, JB, but Meta is on one. So yeah, it's 1.6% to the upside. The bottom is in. Well, I'm saying the bottom's in because it's held the low a couple of times. You know what? I should reserve that till it breaks out the prior day high. It probably needs to break 639 to confirm that you've really rounded a bottom and broken back out. So Kelvin GTS back again to cheer on the Meta Bulls. Sent the super chat yesterday, then the stock dipped. If this happens again, you're bad luck. We always have fun with this kind of thing, but always try to remember the market doesn't care what we say and what we do, unless you fat finger. Sometimes you could fat finger, like I've done it before, and all of a sudden the market cared when I fat fingered into square in the first 5 minutes, like a couple of years ago. And for a hot minute, it did care. And hopefully it cares the right way. No, but it doesn't matter. Stock looks pretty strong to me. Like I intend on getting my dip buy in. It'll probably not end up being that 622.22. I'll more than likely cancel that in about 35 minutes or so, and then just kind of buy it where it lies. Like that was the condition. So we'll see. It probably needs to break this 639, that 640 area that I was talking about a bit earlier. But it's very, very strong here in Meta. And we got that question just now about UNH. Like, why is it going down? Well, why was Meta going down? If you liked it, it'll give it some time to settle. And Meta seems to have settled a little bit, and hopefully is on the back end. You just had to wait a few days. And with UNH, maybe we have to wait for it to show some indication. So I did not get this ad after we closed underneath the trend line on AMD, and now it's working into the volume weighted average price, which is about $248. Remember, with AMD, this stock didn't really lose VWAP. Like it made its top at about this time, like 10:30 to 10:40. It didn't break VWAP until 1 o'clock. So it was a very slow grind. So I think this is more of a scalp trade, like that structure of yesterday. It's a scalp trade and then try to play the lower highs. And I've got it the trend break was so far from the high of the day that you missed like $1.50 of the move that I almost have to take this buck and then move on to the next if that's where it's going to curl. Just following yesterday's pattern in which it wasn't some straight shot. This was a trade it, reload it, get out, reload it kind of day for AMD. It was a very slow trickle to said downside. And the other thing I got to watch out for is a potential reload on Intel, but that's not yet. So every time I bid, Phil, there we go, actually got filled this time. You can get out in front of that prior level, 248, and then Intel, I'm looking for a reload as well. So in the same vein, Intel was a VWAP reload and short off this level all day long, but it was lower highs. So I want to play into those lower highs in the 38 level. I'm going to post up here at like just underneath 80s and see if we can't get, 38 even, I should say, in the 90s, and see if we can't get a refill into the volume weighted average price. So I had to be patient with this one as it continues to go. Eclectic Passions, what would be a sympathy ticker for SoFi? Trying to see where the sector is going. That's a tricky one because SoFi kind of would be like it's more kind like in their own. It's more like world. It's a sympathy to maybe like a Hood, but then it's not really like Robinhood because Robinhood offers so much that SoFi doesn't, and then SoFi is a bank and Robinhood isn't. I don't know that there's a clean sympathy play to SoFi that I can really think of. They're a little bit unique with the bank charter. I have to really think about that. If you guys know in the chat, like who do you guys think is the closest thing to SoFi? And like New, but then New's not even in North America, so. Yeah, I'll leave that one to the chat because I really don't know. I don't know who'd you say? I can't think of it.
I was trying to think about it as you were saying, and I don't. This is why I want to buy SoFi. I mean,
New holdings, but they're not. But these guys aren't. No. Like they're South America, right? So, like they're kind of
not as exciting.
Not really.
It's not Webull either. Webull.
I really don't know.
So we did get a little bit of a dip there. I mean, Palantir is now $3 in the money. Sharif, is it raining outside? Okay, I saw you with the umbrella. It might rain. Okay, good. Well, not good, but whatever. Good advice there. See if it happens. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully I can get to and from the gym before it rains. To and from right there. Just found out that my daughter will be filming something for the Toronto Scepters, which is the professional women's hockey league, so that's good. She has to miss school. Lucky girl for that one. Yeah, so there's 186 right there on Palantir. We took some out as it ripped up through there, so that's pretty good coming through. All right. That's that. Just a quick look here. Oh, we had Jeff on yesterday, so some Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac maybe action today, as I just saw that they're upside. Not too much volume, but up 4% today. There's Fannie Mae. Again, another kind of pro-Trump play, as we've talked about bringing these names back and sort of trying to recapitalize these for the government. But I don't know, like the housing market, I don't know how strong it is right now. We're in rate cut season, so that's wow. Palantir, man, we are long right here at 182. This is pushing 186 now, and trying to go upside from here, it looks like. So let's wait to see what Palantir has in store for us. But it's looking higher highs right now for Palantir. Can we take out these levels? I think I'm just going to offer a little piece right now at 08s. There we go, we got it. And now we'll just see if it can continue a little bit higher here. Palantir, man, almost going to go green now. Well, I mean, it's still down 2.5%, but let's see if it can get back up to 189. I'm going to wait, man. I was sitting here at the 50 period, at the 200 period of 187, but I'm just going to get out now, as that was a nice little bump. We were just 185 and we bumped a $1.30 there. So I'm going to get out, but obviously understanding that, you know, yesterday's play on AMD when we were short at 188, and I went and I put my bid at 150, 150 saying this will get me back to green, and then it went all the way down into 248s or so at the close, right into here. So yeah, we should have held on a little bit longer. So we're going to see if we can do that here with PLTR. And if the market wants to blast, then we know we have a good name here in Palantir. We're already long the futures. And again, oh, this is at a good level too. Let me get some offers out right here at 8. Let's go 80. Okay, let's punch out. We punched out some 83s. And again, this was the posted level right here. And we just retweeted it again of 110 on the TQs, and that's the price that we have. So we're pretty happy with that. The only name that we've lost on here today was Apple, and that was right into here. Whoops. As that just fell right back in, and we wound up getting stopped out real early. But then again, like, we're taking this trade at 931, you know, into this. So we should have been a little bit more patient on that one. So we always learn our lessons around here, and go back over to Adara and see what she's talking about.
That's a very specific guess.
I'm seeing some comments coming from the CEO of AES. Here's the 15-minute chart for AES. CEO of the company seeing 5 to 7% annual growth through 2027, and mentioning, quote, very strong interest from data centers. They're also apparently looking for bigger and more profitable data center projects. So this one in the energy and utility space seems like decent guidance from the CEO, but not really moving too much on this. Just be aware either way. I'm also seeing, just to let you guys know, apparently the Air Force in the U.S. is launching or has launched a GT-254 nuclear-capable missile from the Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. So seeing here, reportedly anyway, the launch of a nuclear-capable missile in the U.S. Back to you.
Figure out the panels. Right?
Okay, so I have to put it up first. David, that is not correct. I won't tell you how close or far you are in case other people wanted to guess. It is not 112 panels.
It's pretty far away.
Yeah, like I'll say this much, is all I'll say. It's more than that. So it's more than 112 panels.
Yeah, it's very far away.
Yeah, it wasn't that close. But I don't want to give too much away.
I just don't want people saying like 140 and like it's not. Here's, oh no. All right, now this has solved it.
Oh, but
there's one panel. Now you guys know. Okay, so you have to rewind it.
No, because now you can really just do some simple math there. Because you said what the dimensions were, and you just held up a panel that's pretty easy to see how the size might have been there.
So but now people will guess it. All right, so I'm still looking at Apple here. Has the market, and we talked about 25.7 there for the market. That's where we're at right now. So there is potential here that maybe we've extended just a little bit too much here. No, I mean, too much is too much, but we do have some tops here at 113 on the TQQs. So I'm a little bit thinking now, if I'm thinking about a short, let me just exit out a few more of this long right here. So now it's starting to come back. I just offered 82s. Hopefully we can get that. There it is. Okay, we got them, right? Okay, so good. So we just got our 82. The reason why I offer on these stocks is because we get paid. So every time we add liquidity by just sitting here like at 77 or 76 or somewhere underneath the level ones, that's where we get rebates. So those can actually start to add up day after day, especially when you've already made 240 trades or so. So you got to be very, very specific. There we go. Like even on Palantir there, we just offered and got lifted out in the 70s. So that's kind of what I'm doing here, is just trying to watch out for those kind of plays where we also get the rebates, because you can't trade my style if you're going to pay $3 or $4 every trade. Now I know that we've had
That's also why you use ARCA. So ARCA pays $2 per 1,000 shares. Just as an example, like EdgeX pays $1.60 per 1,000 shares. What's something that's lower?
I don't know. I don't even.
Nasdaq's like 1.2. So again, like if you use between Nasdaq, nothing against Nasdaq, Nasdaq's fine. But between Nasdaq and ARCA, like you're making 60% more per fill just by posting on ARCA. Think about that. Over the course of a month, over the course of a year, how much that actually adds up for a prop trader. For you guys, for a lot of retail traders, you might not care. Day Trader LA, $100 super chat, 100K profit from Lily, done for the day. Eli Lilly might not be done.
I'm still waiting for my Dodgers gear, man. Come on, Day Trader LA. 100K profit for LLY?
Give me Yamamoto's autograph. That's what I'm down for. That's
congrats. I mean, that's
ridiculous. $940.
Like the fact that you're making that much money, that is absolutely crazy, Day Trader LA.
Assuming you're trading options.
No one around here even coming close.
Lily's up 3% today.
Wow, what a great job there by you, Day Trader LA, man. That is crazy. Talk right there. Okay, so yeah, and a big congratulations to that. So I don't know, I got to hit a like and a big ups for that one right here. Huge, I'm going to write in the chat, man. That is absolutely incredible. Congratulations on that one. I'm floored. All right, let's go over to Sector Watch. How about that? It's okay, Andre. I mean, you're a busy guy, man.
We're not going.
I mean, this guy's doing so much work over there. You might as well.
When the super chats go on screen, like that's 99% Andre. Like I'll be trying to like go over to it and type it. We had a super chat that was a guest, which I'll put up here. Mohammed, I can say that's close. You put a range in there instead of an actual guess. 474 to 488. That's close, but that is incorrect. If it was within your range, I would give it to you, but that is actually not correct, although it is obviously much closer than the 112 guess. I will tell you that. Let's go over to Adair.
Let's talk here about these sectors, because there are quite a few that are really strong, and I want to point out a standout. Producer manufacturing, we've got Caterpillar, LRCX, AMET, GEV, ETN, all sharply to the upside and led here by a almost 8% move in this JCI stock. So great look here for producer manufacturing. Health technology generally pretty weak, but we've got some standouts to the upside. Eli Lilly up 3%. Right now above 940, and then we have Amgen up 5%, AMGN, of course, a day one earnings play. Got a lot of flat sectors too, though. Consumer non-durables not doing too much. Consumer durables, same, pretty flat here. Energy minerals, the largest names here are flat. We have some strength, including MPC. That's Marathon, day two earnings, nice push to the upside there. Retail trade quite weak, including HD here, Home Depot down nearly 3%. But we have to talk about these tech sectors because there are a lot of names here pulling a lot of weight for this market. Broadcom up almost 4%. Amphenol, our APH here, this one's up 3%. We've got Nvidia up 1% and Micron up 8%. So tons of standouts here in electronic technology. Technology services has some weakness, including a almost 3% move to the downside for Palantir. But Google, Meta, Oracle, and ACN balancing these out. So even if there are some weak names in the sector, there seems to be a lot more strength as a whole here, guys, for especially sector-wide and then market-wide as well. Back to you.
Not to worry about these things. But.
Thank you very much there, Adara. And yeah, you know, we talk about the, you know, if you ever sell something or trim something, and ultimately if it's a long-term hold, you want to buy back into it. Caterpillar is an example of something where I was, you know, I'll admit to being wrong. I trimmed 10% of Caterpillar with the idea of getting back in if it dipped into the 50-period moving average. Well, guess yesterday was a low. You know, there's a dip. It doesn't even come anywhere close. As a matter of fact, the low, not even within 10%. It would have had, yesterday's low to the 50 period is 10%, that's how far it would have to dip. So, no, it's not No, it just turned to Sean. I go, well, then what do I do with that money? I probably end up throwing it into the index or something because I don't want to just have it sitting there. And that's what happens. You know, Vernova hasn't dipped far enough yet, but at least I think I still have a chance to get that dip by. But Caterpillar, we might not. I love some Caterpillar. Eli Lilly, Caterpillar. Those are my two favorite non-tech stocks. It's not to say that they're the best, but
They are.
well, I don't think they are. I'm sure there's plenty of other really good non-tech stocks. Lots of other ones out there.
Okay, go. I just love both of, I mean,
Walmart.
But Walmart's not as good as Caterpillar. No, they're all good. They're good stocks, but I don't think they're as good
now
as.
I'm trying to think of other ones.
Exactly. I don't think, I mean, honestly, Caterpillar, and you just nailed two names. I mean, I like both of those names. I think those are great names that you could hold that give you a little bit of exposure. I would say, like, you know, for me, I think JP Morgan, I mean, if you're going to get some
Yeah, bank. There you go.
Yeah.
I think if you're looking for non-tech stocks, the best bank, the best industrial.
Yeah. You're not going to go wrong.
And then the best, like, call it like, not really healthcare, but like in the health sector, I suppose. Like, you can't go wrong with those three.
It's about not trying to go wrong in this environment, right? Because there's going to be so many opportunities to buy shares of anything you want. You just want to make sure that you make the right call and buy solid, good companies. And that's why I said, like I was saying earlier, like I did not buy SMR yesterday because I just felt like it wasn't the right time to buy that stock. And then today, SMR is rallied. Like, you don't know if you could predict what tomorrow brings, right? I mean, that would be worth everything because I don't know. Yeah, we know the sun will come out, but you know, at the end of the day, like if that market continues to bleed today, which we didn't get a great report from AMD, and AMD was down to 238 last night or something, was maybe the low, bouncing now completely up to $10, still down. But yeah, you did, you know, if you're going to think, yeah, even lower than that, 237, if you're going to think that the market was going to bounce today, then yeah, you would want to buy some of those kind of names. Palantir really hasn't given you the juice that I thought it would have given today, considering that we have a rocket market, but we're almost out of all of these. We've done really good to get out of these names here today, but for right now, Palantir still waiting for me anyways, 187. That's going to be a take. The futures have been everything for me today, so I'm going to take another out right now, actually, in the futures. And yeah, they've been everything. And what I mean by that is like we lost on Apple. We're going to make, you saw the Palantir, and this one was just the one call that's sort of holding my day right now on the TQs, because without this, oh yeah, and we lost on Rivian, which by the way, Rivian, like wow, you know, congratulations to those traders there, because this is a name that really got going and got going real good, man. RIVN right here into today. So big name alert here, Rivian, continuing to work into 1440 now, up 15%. What a rocket ship Rivian's proving to be here again today. So a big shout out. We had Randy came on. He liked what he saw there on Rivian, as I'm sure many of you do as well. So yeah, good little.
Still a 15% short.
Yeah, 15% up. And remember, like it was underperforming what the move was initially, right? What their expected move, but now it's doubling it. You know, we had about an 8 to 9% move expectation there, and Rivian was only up 5%. So
that's what really scares the shorts.
There it goes, man. Yeah. Now it's exceeded that, and now I think this is a short squeeze on Rivian. And I don't even know. Let me just double check here. It's only 10:46. I don't know if we saw what the short float was on Rivian. I thought it was
15%.
I was going to say I think it was in the teens. You checked it already?
I just looked. I didn't remember.
Oh, you looked. Okay, so 15%. Yeah. So there it is. There, 15.5% for Rivian. So. That's enough to get it squoze, especially when you're doing 30 million shares. So there goes Rivian. Big trade alert there for anybody that was able to grab that long. And we talked about we didn't want the long until 14. So we shorted it until 14. But on that pullback right into here, that was a good long. Breaking, coming back in, holding, and then going. So it comes and holds 90s and then goes again. That second area right there, like that second take of 14, obviously easy to say when you basically have 20 straight up candles here. But yeah, that was looking pretty good, man. Congrats to the Rivian longs. We're still holding out on Palantir, man, and hoping that can get going. I did see Microsoft flash on some scanners. Did it have a move dramatically one way or not, or the other? Okay, yeah, so I think it just VWAP scanner. So yeah, huge pull back in here for softies. So what's up with that? Right now coming back in. It's the META day. A lot of people worried about META, and I mean META continues to be one of those good stocks on the rebound, right? 637, it touches low as what, 623 or so? Right, 625, it bounced off there again. That's 2 days in a row, same level bouncing off of for META.
So I don't know if we put this one up, but If I said that a few days ago, I don't recall saying that. It's not correct. However, it's like close enough. The guess, Mohammed,
Yes.
now saying 478. It's close enough that it could have been misheard. Well, that'll be.
There's
my hint.
Palantir.
That is obviously very close, but it is not correct. That is not the actual number. But appreciate the super
But
chat.
it's lower than that.
No, it is lower than that, but
We just got 187s right there on Palantir, so that bull keeps on kicking.
Palantir to the upside. What I don't understand here, well, I guess I should understand it, is Nvidia is breaking higher, and AMD felt like the right decision to get out of the short. As the market's going higher, it's continuing on that downtrend. So the retest of the high to short might not be the thing. It might actually just be that 250 level that we were in it before. You might just want to respect that. Nvidia, strong relative to the name that's trying to, it did go green actually. AMD did get to green and is now back underneath. I think it's on the back end of the trade where we've got Nvidia strong, market strong, AMD was a good report. I mean, like, they beat, their guidance was beat. The only thing that was a slip up was the margin. Like, their margin guidance was in line. That's probably the only thing that was bad there for AMD, but it's expensive. So maybe that's why it's sort of selling off relative to the market. I would love to be able to get back in at that lower high where we had it before, but that might not be an option. If it ends up doing what it did yesterday, when it broke VWAP, there were retests of the volume-weighted average price to try to get back in. So unless it's going to give me some lower highs to work off of, I might just have to short that one underneath VWAP. Relative weakness and strength is something you want to play into. I did that with Intel here. Every single time we got in, it didn't really fall through. Didn't follow through. And then we finally got the top there at 38 after getting out. And now it's putting in those lower highs that I like. So I'm reloading this every chance I get. And I'd follow that same pattern. If it gets under VWAP, kind of short it into the volume weighted average price. Let's go to Adara. Time to see how the USD is doing with Money Talks.
Guys, I have to mention your US dollar 6-day streak. This is a 6-day streak to the upside, and we cleared that 100 level yesterday, but we're continuing above it now. Now, I want to talk about when this streak began, which was actually Fed Day. That would be last Wednesday, October 29th. Now, the significance of the streak beginning on that day is the fact that I was looking up on this, and a lot of people are attributing this recent strength to the US dollar, to the fact that these odds of the December rate cut don't quite seem as shiny or as rosy a prospect as they were prior to that Fed meeting. Now, we know that Fed Chair Jerome Powell said during that meeting last Wednesday that the December rate cut was not set in stone. In fact, it was far from a done deal. So I think that is pretty significant when we get that uncertainty about the rate cut. The US dollar rebounds in spectacular fashion. And it's worth noting, if you zoom out a little bit to this initial bottoming out that we had on September 17th, that was also a Fed day. So keep an eye on what the US dollar does in the Fed day. This seems to be, as of the last two meetings, giving us a nice indication of what it's going to do in the near term. Let's talk here about this economic data that we got today. Global services PMI and global composite PMI, both a little bit below estimates at 9:45 a.m., but then the more closely watched print, ISM services or non-manufacturing PMI, well above estimates, 52.4 versus 50.7 expected. And with that in mind, we get a little bit of move up here in the market. And of course, the US dollar, as I mentioned, still strong. I do want to talk here as well, though, about these December 10th rate expectations. I already mentioned that the chances of this Fed cut being set in stone in December have dwindled a little bit. Right now, we're at about a 64 or 63.5% chance of a rate cut in December. 36.6% of participants expecting no cut. And again, as of a month ago, 86% of participants were expecting a cut. So we're likely still going to get that cut, but again, keep an eye on the CME Fed Watch tool, a really good indicator of sentiment with regards to the rate decisions. As I send you back to Sean and Neil, make sure to like and subscribe. Back to you.
We were just saying, Sharif was like, look at Micron, and that one's on one. We'll look at that in a minute. But Palantir just continues to extend right now up into 187 again. I mean, maybe this name is trying to get green there today. David, I told you, thank you for the super chats. Love you, brother.
I think we have a winner already.
It was 4-4 something.
So let's here.
David.
Thank you for all those. Mohammed got 447. That's very, very close. We'll give it to, and then Von Clark, 444. It's 448. Both of you are pretty much dead on. One away by Mohammed and then Von Clark as well. But, oh, shoot. There we go. Another super chat. Please get Chipotle for lunch, everyone. Sincerely, my CMG longs from Chris.
$5. We can get half of a burrito.
What is Chipotle? Didn't Chipotle get rocked after earnings?
Yeah, Kava also. I mean, McDonald's was doing okay today. Thanks, Chris L. That's awesome. I mean, thank you for all.
Chart.
We're just joking around about any dollar amount that you guys super chat is absolutely fantastic. So we want to thank you for all of that. But yeah, there's a Chipotle chart.
I don't even know what lunch is today. Yesterday, I unfortunately.
Well, you're about to find out.
No, I unfortunately knew yesterday, and it was when I knew it was a beef stroganoff, I was already kind of not excited about it. I didn't really. You liked it. I didn't really like it that much. But Chipotle. Hey, look. This is the bottom. So once it's now held higher lows, if it can break out, this is 32.14 for whatever reason. That looks pretty good, but it's kind of not going to do that today. But yeah, it's kind of made some higher lows. Could be trying to fill in that gap if it breaks 32.15. That looks like a breakout to me. But we just teased it.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do it right now. Let's go watch for lunch. Okay.
I'm just curious about it.
It should be pretty good. I mean, today we had, it was egg and cheese sandwiches. Some had bacon, some didn't. We talked about that. There was a mad dash over to go get the bacon ones. Today is not a land creature. So that gives us one of two options. It's either going to be tilapia, which is Neil's favorite, or it's going to be salmon. And today, thankfully, it is garlic buttered salmon. So, all right, so we avoid the tilapia. We'll hit the awesome right there. It's garlic buttered salmon with roasted potatoes, steamed veggies, and a mixed green salad. So, yeah, that's what's for lunch, and we're cooking it up today, so that should be a good one. There today, garlic buttered salmon. Okay.
Can't go wrong. Okay. Red snapper is my favorite fish, but
mine's halibut.
Salmon's up there. Halibut, that's good. Whatever you have.
Yeah, we're going to lemonade, LMND. I'm just hearing in my ear.
Squeeze is on.
That's $75 name. Oh my God. Right there, LMND. Well, I guess it is today, up 28%. LMND. Wow. And that squeeze, yeah, is on. Another name that's been going here a little bit. We had earnings last night, was Upstart, right? And Upstart's another name that's going the opposite way of lemonade. So some names you get going up, some names you get going down. But right now, Upstart is heading to the downside. Off not a great report, right? I mean, down 13%. We'll see where it goes. It's been an absolute disaster to be invested in this name over the last couple months, it looks like, from $75 down to $40 for UPST. That's pretty bad. But it looks like you are coming into some possible levels again. So we said this yesterday, like you always want to buy good names, right? And it looks like Upstart right into here could be one of those names that continues to fall in. It's not a good report. This might not be one where you want to catch that falling knife, right? I mean, there's been pullbacks now in Microsoft, in Meta. We had a small little pullback in Google that got bought up. So yeah, just stay with what you're doing and I think you'll be okay. But buying quality names in this environment, I think is what winds up working. So that's something that I'm gonna be looking to do, and Upstart is not qualifying as one of those names for me. So yeah, that would be that one. SoFi does. We really like some SoFi down there if we can get that as well. But Upstart right now, trying to battle back, only down 13.5%. I wanted to always check back on Rivian because I wonder where that's going to stop there. Okay, it's a little bit of a pullback. I was going to say this is going to pull back at some point, just a matter of when. And there, maybe the pullback.
I think
is
it
on
just
now.
broke trend.
I do want to buy VWAP though if it comes back in. So that would be something to look at for me with Rivian. And we did get some more out on the Qs as we talked about, maybe topping tails right here. So I'm going to offer another piece out right now at 51. There it is. We get that fill. So far so good here on the TQs. We are almost out. Christopher Ocean, I believe, or whatever the name was in there. He's been following me on the Palantir trade. Congratulations. It's now $4 in the money. And yeah, I have a lot of outs, but the logic behind them remains kind of the same for me, right? And that is that we're getting some out here as it starts to rip back up into areas that we had seen some sort of resistance before, like where we drop back out, they're at 184. Then we come into the 50-period moving average, which we take and we take again, right? Then we take a whole bunch around VWAP, and then we wait for the 200 period. So I feel pretty good, man, about what we've been doing here on these names. So far so good here with Palantir and with our plan of action. And the TQs was just a banger trade. I don't really know what to do here other than like, we liked that. I like liked the area there for the futures, and we took it. It was written down on the note, so it was a no-brainer trade for me at 110. So nice upside play here with only 3 minutes left until the midday show. There it is. What's up, Frank and Christopher Ocean there in the chat? My hat's off to you. Great trade, my guy.
And ChatGPT, just 3 tickers with the super chat.
Oh.
Fubo. I know the news with that one. They got, Disney announced the stake. We knew about that. I don't know what's going on with ASST. Rigetti, I think the bigger news in the quantum space will be IonQ reporting tonight. Don't know when Rigetti specifically reports, but it's going to move on IonQ.
Yeah, you'll be fine with that.
It's 100% going to move on IonQ, their report, and it's bouncing off to 50 as we speak. Like, this is the last level that it bounced off of for Rigetti. So if it were to get to 42, that wouldn't surprise me. I wouldn't necessarily want to trade until after those earnings for IonQ, and that's why I stayed away from quantum today. Fubo is absolutely on one, and it looks like it wants $4.60. This is now going to close over $4. Knock on wood. It's half the day to go. I shouldn't have said that. And the 50-period moving average if it closes up here. So that's a good look for Fubo. But when you pull up Rivian, or at least you mention Rivian, I pulled it up, and that's an all-day trend break. Like, the first thing I looked at was, I looked at the candle. I was like, that's breaking all-day trend. That is true. Saw it close. Tried to get the top of the candle here. If I can, that's just in front of 14.3. And the trend break into the volume-weighted average price, just a setup that I like as we see it. AMD bounces clean off the volume-weighted average price and heading right back into the high. So they're buying it up. It's back to green after earnings. Like a lot of other names, the dip buy yesterday was at least yesterday. Today, the dip buy was 9:30 for the depressed earnings names, and you're jumping right back into the top. If I short this, it's got to show me something at 252 as the market wants to try to blast in here. Hopefully we got to all. I know we missed a few super chats along the line, but I think we covered most of all of them with only about 30 seconds to go here. Although I've seen now twice. I hate to call people out for this, but if you want us to cover a symbol, small trader risk, make sure you hit $. Type the $sign in there, because otherwise, DraftKings has no chance to get on our stock visualizer.
That's what it's got.
No
got no chance in hell.
That's what you got.
You've got.
You don't see DraftKings on here. I see Fubo.
All right.
I see Alphabet. I see Palantir, Nvidia, META, AMD, Tesla, all names we've talked about. But you're not going to see DraftKings unless you type $sign and get on there. DraftKings breaking low of the day as we speak. I don't know the specific story here, but it's been in a downtrend, so it could just be that.
All right, see you later, everybody. Good show, Neil. Thank you for watching again. Good show. Thank you, Adair, for everything. Thanks, Brendan. Over to Sharif and Joe. See you guys at 2 p.m.
It is 11.